Live right now. Ooh, they caught me singing. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Enrique, aka the Aries Gamer. Welcome to the Green Room, presented to you by Basement Radio Arcade. And I have a star-studded panel this evening. I have joining me tonight somebody I've known for 14 years. We actually met as a beta tester on Xbox Live back in 2002, playing Revolt. If any of you guys know or remember that game, it was one of the games that came with Xbox Live, and the other one was what I think NFL Fever. Is that do I got that right? Yes,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, it sounds right.
All right. And so this gentleman, Lemieux 66, aka I just call him Bryan, but he goes by Lemieux 66. Lemieux, what's up, man? Hey, welcome back, man. It's been a long time since you've been on the show. I know you were you were like my first co-host for the first couple of podcasts. And hey, man, it's good to have you back, man. How are you?
Very good. It's good to be here. Excited to talk games with you and a couple other people here. I'm excited to get started.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, I got something to show you. Let me see that.
I
You know what
see
that
it.
is, right?
Yeah, the Capitals,
Come on, man. You got to give us some love, man. We're best team in the NHL right now.
regular season paper champions.
Oh boy, here we go, man. We're not even through the podcast and we're already talking trash about the Caps, but that's all right, man. That's all right. They're as long as they have a better record than the Penguins, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. But this year is going to be different. We're going to raise the cup this year, and I'll be drinking beer out of the cup this year. You can laugh all you want, but it's happening, man.
All
It's
right,
happening.
all right.
All right. So my other guest, I have. Well, I want to introduce her first. I have Bella Ryse of EXL Gaming. And Bella, I am very excited to have you on. For those of you who don't know, she's the editor in chief of EXL Gaming and the community manager for Drop Dead Interactive. And she's also the clan leader of, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it. Is it ORSM clan, or is that how it is, or is it pronounced Orsum?
Oh,
Hello?
it was Bella.
We lost
We lost
Bella.
her.
Okay. Well, Bella's on the other side of planet Earth, so maybe she got disconnected. But Eric, you can hear me, right? Oh,
Yes, I hear
she's
you fine.
there, but we can't hear her. She's saying I'm
Uh-oh.
here. Uh-oh. I don't know. All right, we're gonna have to go back to Bella, and then without further ado, returning co-host Eric Jaxson, senior writer for EXL Gaming. Eric, hey man, thanks for joining me again. How are you excuse me. How are you this evening?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much.
So what the hell's going on with Bella? She can't hear us. She can't chat.
No, this is live TV, people.
Yeah, shit happens live with Google Hangouts. Well, we're gonna. Well, looks like she dropped out. Well, she's gonna leave and come back. All right. So we'll wait for her to come back before we start talking about today's topic. And let me. I just want to talk while we wait for Bill. I want to talk about the Penguins and how Stanley Crosby sucks balls. And I'm,
God, you're horrible.
bro, Eric, you don't understand. Lemieux and I have this rivalry that goes back to. Okay, so you know how we were talking about a couple of podcasts ago. We are talking about NFL 2K. Eric, you remember
Hmm.
that?
It was-
Oh, she's back. Bella,
Welcome
can you
back.
hear
Yes,
us?
yes, I have cleared the gremlins out of the system. I'm now functioning.
You cleared the what? The ponies?
The gremlins. No,
Mm.
Oh,
that's a
I'm just
nasty
joking.
word.
I better not.
Gremlins.
Gremlins, yes. I should not say ponies. Some people might get offended, but um, it's all shits and
And
giggles,
rightly
folks.
so.
It's all shits and giggles. But Bella, thank you for joining us tonight. And for those of you who don't know, Bella is the editor in chief of EXL Gaming and community manager for Drop Dead Interactive. And she's also the clan leader for, is it ORSM clan, or is it pronounced Orsum, or did I get that
Yes,
right?
awesome. The
Orsum.
awesome clan.
Oh, Orsum. Like awesome. That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right.
So, are
Funny how
you,
that works.
yeah. Are you guys dedicated to one specific game?
Yeah, primarily we're on Call of Duty.
Really? Okay. So you guys are Call
Not
of Duty clan.
exclusively, but primarily.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now I've been out of the clan scene for years, and actually Lemieux and I were in a clan back in 2004. Was it Lemieux?
I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah, it was. I've been in a few in my life. I'm out of that scene now. I like to, pop in, pop out, but
Yeah,
I don't even remember what year it was. I'm getting old.
yeah. I think it was 2003, 2004. It was the Brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
And we're at Xbox Live Clan. We played Unreal Championship and Return to Castle Wolfenstein, I think was the other game that we played. But
Mm,
yeah, I've been out of the clan scene for a long time. But Bella, do you
yeah.
guys play competitively? Do you guys do like ladder
Yeah.
matches and stuff?
Yeah, we do.
That's awesome. Bella? Are you any good?
Well, if we listen to any of your tidings when you think I'm not listening, apparently I'm shit at FPS. But you
Oh.
already know. You already know that is bullshit because I already kicked your ass on Titanfall.
Actually, Lemieux, you were in that Titanfall game. You probably remember. Do you remember Bella Lemieux? You were in a game with
I
us
yeah, I think
in Titanfall with her. Yeah,
yeah, Mike was there too. Was it your buddy Mike?
yeah. Mike from NLG. Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
that. He was in that game with us.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bella, I'm just giving you a hard time. I heard. What's your KDR
On.
on Call of Duty?
Oh, it's just below positive at the moment, actually. I've been playing pretty crap this season.
Eric says you play like crap all the time. I'm just joking. I'm totally kidding.
You know what? See, what we're going to do is we're going to live stream, be it after this podcast or on another day. You and I are going to live stream, son. And everybody's going to see. Everybody's going to see me dominating that leaderboard above you.
I think you should take him into IDAR, Bells.
Oh, I'm not playing her in IDARB. No.
Yes, you are. That is happening.
Eric's already warned me about that, by the way.
Are you damage controlling for yourself right now?
I'm probably damage controlling for myself, yes.
I 1v1. It's happening.
I'm not going to even pretend or lie about that. So,
I think you guys should definitely live stream some IDAR matches.
you think so?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Have they put spectator mode in there yet?
They have indeed. So they'll add an extra layer of embarrassment to it for you, Enrique.
Oh boy. So I got to go on spectator. So we got to have spectator mode too,
you
and then
spent weeks talking trash about my gaming abilities. So it's time for us to put it out there live in full color, 1080p, FPS beautifulness for the entire world to see.
I'll say this much though, Bella. Even though you're on the other side of planet Earth, and you were in a server with us on Titanfall, you were definitely playing a lot better than Mike.
And see, now Mike's not easy talking shit about him. That's how this works, isn't it?
No,
When
no,
the
I.
person
But
defend
but
themselves, you're just like,
no, but Bella, I mean, you were there. You were witness to that. I mean, if you were being honest about his gameplay, wouldn't you say you were playing better?
Oh, if I'm being honest about the gameplay, you're both trash.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Wow, this is how this podcast is going to go the rest of the evening.
Getting hit left and right. He's not even here to defend himself.
Well, he's getting body blows right now. He's getting body blows, So, well, hey, we'll give a shout out to Daniel Lawson in the chat room. Hello, Daniel. Thank you. Oh, wait, you still lose to Blackhawks. Oh, wow. Is he a Blackhawks fan? Is that what's going on here?
I think that would be a safe assumption.
Yeah. Well, all I got to do point to this.
Well, I'm going
That's
to tell
all
you
I
how
gotta
it
do.
works. I'm going to tell you how it works in Florida.
Oh, you're a
If the
Panthers
Panthers
fan.
keep doing better, we'll all be Panthers fans.
Are you guys talking about foosball?
No, foosball
no.
is done.
We're talking about foosball. Why do you call it foosball?
Because it can.
Oh, you mean football?
No, foosball.
Oh
That's a
boy.
little shout out to the water boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Foosball. What is it? Foosball is for the devil or something?
Yeah.
That is too funny. Oh boy, wow! Daniel's in the chat room just talking mad shit right now. He's saying, so I asked him about the Blackhawks. He said, yeah, and then he's saying cups, all cups. Yeah, I can't argue that. The Caps have never won a cup, Daniel. So you're right. We're not there yet, but this year's different. I hope.
Is this the sports edition of the Green Room?
It started off that way, but it's not supposed to be. First, it started off us talking shit, and then it just went to talking shit about sports teams. So, all right, guys. So tonight we're going to talk about the legacy of the original Xbox, and then we're going to talk about the future of the Xbox console, because I think there's been a lot of big announcements, and there's been some interesting fan reaction to the whole quantum break to PC situation and where Microsoft is heading, the ecosystem, all that stuff. So we'll get to that. But I want to start off with talking about how Microsoft got to this point with the original Xbox. And I'm assuming now, all you guys, I know Lemieux, you owned an original Xbox, but Bella and Eric, did you guys own the original Xbox? Did you guys go out and launch and buy it? Or did you guys pick it up later on in its cycle?
I was later on. Yeah.
I have had every installment in the Xbox franchise from the day each of them were released, and they are all still sitting, arranged neatly in my TV cabinet right in front of me.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, my Xbox, my OG Xbox is, and I actually still have my launch Xbox console. I don't have it here. It's stored away at my folks' house because I just don't have room for all my stuff here. I still have mine, and I still
That's
have.
not a good enough excuse. Seriously, you're storing, like, of all the things you're storing that you don't have room for, it's your original Xbox. I mean, you made room for the baby. Jesus.
I know, right? I know, right? That's my wife's doing, Bella. It's like, oh, we could put your video game stuff in the garage. I'm like, no, we're not putting my stuff in the garage. Not the games, not the consoles. That stuff you can't put in the garage. It doesn't work that way. So,
It's funny how you have those conversations, right?
I know, right? It really is. It's like once you get married, you have those conversations. Before it's like, oh, you're a gamer, cool, all right, and then it's like, why are you gaming so much? Well, why are you, So yeah, but yeah, so I still have that, and actually I had two. I also had bought. I actually had two Xbox Ones. I bought a second one that I ended up giving to actually my dad, believe it or not, who loved Link's Golf. Do you guys remember that?
Oh
Yes.
God, yeah, so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, Link's was awesome, and my dad's a big golfer, so I gave him the Xbox and I got him Link's Golf, and we would just play against each other, when I go over there. So, hey, Digital Falcon's in his house. What's up, Digital? Um,
Digital Falcon's actually one of the writers for EXL Gaming.
oh, you know what? I did not know that.
You do now.
I do now. So, so the Xbox guys. So, 1998. But you correct me earlier, Bill. I said 99, but it was indeed 98.
Mm-hmm.
There's the idea of the Xbox comes up, and I think the one major player in this that everyone seems to remembers is um, Seamus Blackley. Do you guys remember him?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Seamus, yeah.
I think
He was
some
a
people.
part of the team with Kevin Backus, Odo Burks, and Ted Hayes, I believe. They're
Uh,
the people that made up the first software console team.
yes, it was Ted Hayes. Yep, Kevin Backus, Blackley, and Ted Hayes, and Otto Burkus. You said Otto Burkus, right? He was also
Mm-hmm.
involved. Yeah, and I think Ted Haas was part of the DirectX team, I believe. So,
Mm-hmm.
so back then, I mean, so at the time, Sony was dominating the console industry, and they were, on the heels of the success of the PlayStation, and Sony was getting ready to release a PlayStation 2, and they had a lot of momentum coming into their second console, and Sony at one point had essentially said, we're going to grow this thing so big that we're gonna take over gaming. Period. We're gonna destroy even PC gaming, and PC gaming and anything PC related it's Microsoft's territory. And so it kind of caught the attention of Microsoft. But the four gentlemen here had this idea to build a console, to build a game console, and to build something that was not just a game console, but something that was really powerful, something that could compete and even be better in a lot of ways than what Sony was planning with the PlayStation 2. So
Well, the idea behind the original Xbox was to create the first gaming system that was built like a PC that could
yes,
also allow for the flexibility and the power of a gaming rig to be more readily available in your average home.
yes, and um, excuse me, and so we fast forward to 1999, and they're still in the planning stages. And it's interesting. I recently read some. I went back and kind of read some articles that were written about the history of the original Xbox, and I didn't realize a lot of the internal strife that the Xbox group had in trying to get this thing pushed through. I mean, Microsoft since its start was always focused on PC. Windows was their major platform, still is, and they were very much focused on PC, and it was they faced a lot of internal backlash, and there were a lot of naysayers saying, "Hey, you guys can't pull this off." Even Steve Ballmer was kind of he wasn't necessarily sold on the idea of the Xbox, and these guys really had to internally just lobby a lot of executives to kind of greenlight this project for them. And it really wasn't, I think, until Ed Freeze got kind of involved. You guys remember Ed Freeze?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I always remember him at the E3s. I don't know. Lemieux, you remember this? I used to kind of poke fun at him for some reason because I thought he was kind of dorky.
Yes, you
I
did.
mean, I think the
Yes.
biggest turning point for them was at GDC on March 10th when Bill Gates actually demonstrated the first Xbox.
Yes, and I believe wasn't The Rock there for that?
Yes,
No,
it was.
that was
he was
later. That
there.
was at the final design launch, which was unveiled at CES 2001,
That's right.
I
Yep.
believe.
Yep.
Yeah,
CES
very good.
2001.
That's
Yeah, you're right. And they had The Rock come out, which was interesting. So there was a lot of internal strife, a lot of internal struggle. They were trying to greenlight this project. They were getting a lot of pushback. And they eventually got the green light. They got the blessing from the man above to do this. And so 2001 comes, November 15th, 2001. The console launches at $299.
14th.
And or was it
Sorry.
the 14th? Was it the 14th?
Yes, November 14th.
Why do I
Sorry.
think the 15th?
I don't know. I'm sorry,
What-
but yeah, it's November 14th.
Okay, so the 14th, 2001, it launches at $299. Here in the U.S., $299. I don't know what it retailed rest of the world, but it's funny. I was thinking about $299. $299 sounds like a great deal these days for a game console.
Well, back then it was massive.
Yeah, back then that's what I'm saying. Back then it was like,
$600 now,
yeah, it
which
was.
is effectively still what we're playing. Day one launch today,
Mm-hmm.
so it's held its market value.
Yeah, yeah. So the Xbox launches and November 14th, 2001, and it launches with Halo, which really, in my opinion, put the console on the map. I mean, it was that killer app that really drove sales for the Xbox. And I remember playing Halo. I remember the first time I put it in to the Xbox and turning it on, and I was just blown away. And I had heard so much, and actually that's the reason why. Well, Halo and Xbox Live are the reason why I picked up the Xbox, but Halo was just it to this day for me. It's still one of those wow moments that I always remember. And I remember I had my buddy over and we're sitting on the couch. We're doing the old school couch co-op, split screen on Halo, and we were just looking at each other like, "What the fuck is this? This is amazing." And
Yeah,
I mean,
think it's the thing that puts a lot of people in.
yeah, I mean, and my buddy's not even like he wasn't like I was a hardcore gamer. He wasn't. I mean, he was I mean, he if he played games, it's because he came to my house or he went to, a friend's house who had PlayStations.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a hardcore gamer, and we sat there for hours and hours playing Halo, and we were just blown away because we hadn't. I mean, in terms of first-person shooters, I hadn't experienced anything like that. My experience with first-person shooters, really up until that point, had been mostly on PC, playing Unreal Tournament,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty much it, and just playing this game was it had a story, it had a character that you connected with. I remember the gameplay mechanics were tight. Everything was just perfect about this game, and obviously the music. I mean, I'll always remember the music in that game. But that was such a big wow factor for me, and it's such a big moment for the Xbox, and really, really put the console on the map. So,
And when you think deeper than that, I'm sorry, Enrique, think
Yeah,
about
go ahead.
where Halo started. You know, because I remember seeing that running on a Mac, but
Yes, it
not
did.
the iteration that we got on the Xbox. It was like a completely different game at that point. It was more of, I think, I'm trying to remember what type of game. It wasn't a first-person shooter though.
No, and actually, Steve Jobs demoed. I think it was Steve Jobs demoed it on a Mac, and you're right. It wasn't. I thought it was a first-person shooter. No, or
No,
was it
not at that
something?
time. I
I
want
think
to
it was
say it
more of
was
an
like a,
RTS.
yeah, I was gonna say it was more like an RTS at the time.
It was an RTS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, guys, I just want to make a Southbound's actually in the chat room. Southbound 110. South, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. Um, but yeah, I do remember that. I remember it being demoed on Mac, and I think it was E3. I forget what E3 was, where Ed Freeze and the Microsoft folks met Bungie, and I think that's when the deal went down. I think where they paid $30 million for
Well,
Bungie.
yeah, they met up with Bungie later in 2000, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's when they paid $30 million to bring them online, which like made major headlines at the time.
Mm,
Right.
$30 million for Microsoft is probably chum change.
much money.
Back then, like if we're talking that many years ago, $30 million, that's putting faith into that development company that you are going to be our flagship title, that you are going to be what makes these consoles leave shelves and get connected at home. And they were right. It was a smart move and it paid out massively. Halo is still immensely huge today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you guys something. What was your first when you guys fired up Halo for the first time? What was your experience like? Was it a did you guys have that same wow factor?
Oh yeah, easily.
My fondest Halo memory the first time I played it was just the physics of the game. The physics of the grenades with exploding the warthogs and the ghosts, all the vehicles. I had never played a game like that where everything had its own physics engine, and I never seemed to see the same explosion twice. It was really cool.
Yeah, and Halo for me too. If you remember the multiplayer element, and before there was Xbox Live, there was. Do you guys remember Xbox Connect?
Hmm.
I do.
I
Never
don't.
used
No.
it, but I do.
Yeah. So, I remember playing on Xbox Connect, and actually before the Xbox, I was actually on 56K internet, and when I heard the Xbox was going to have an Ethernet port, and that's actually something that I didn't talk about, but when I heard it was going to have an Ethernet port and what they were trying to do with Xbox Live, that actually prompted me to call Comcast at the time and upgrade to broadband.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was a big reason why I moved to broadband. And Eric, you and I have talked about this. They got a lot of shit for including an Ethernet port,
Oh yeah.
because the idea was, oh well, this thing's gonna fail. It's got an Ethernet, port, and no one's really using broadband. They're leaving behind people, yada yada yada. But it worked out.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, because
mean,
it forced me to go get an Ethernet, like
yeah,
or get like a DSL, because But I remember people kind of sitting there saying like, but I don't have Ethernet. I don't have a high-speed internet connection at home. Like, what the hell? What's up with that? And it didn't seem to be. It seemed to be one of those things where it was like, we know where it's going. Just be prepared.
yeah, and I got the first taste of where they were going with XBC, and we would I had a couple buddies that were a couple other buddies of mine that were hardcore gamers. We would actually we heard about XBC. We did the whole, I forget it was, you hooked it up to the router and did whatever you needed to do, open up ports. You went to the XBC site and you would host games, and uh, we would actually host games on Blood Gulch. And so that was like the first taste of what we were thinking that Xbox Live would be, and what they would do with online gaming, and that was mind blowing to me to be able to do some of the things that they were doing, and then so fast forward to 2002, we're hearing about Xbox Live, and then we see Xbox Live come to light. The beta test, the beta comes out. And Lemieux, you and I met on the beta 14 years ago. And I think, were you first wave or second wave?
I think it was second wave, but I don't remember. When I got my kit, it included like a little black carrying bag, an orange Xbox Live memory card, and a Xbox Live Beta T-shirt.
I do remember the T-shirt. I don't think I have that anymore though.
Mine's somewhere, but don't ask me where.
Yeah. Now, Eric, Bella, were you guys beta testers? Do you guys?
No, I wasn't a beta tester, so I had to wait until the service came online. But yeah, I was there as soon as it did.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I wasn't a beta tester either.
Yeah. And so they gave us Revolt and NFL Fever as the beta games. And I just remember the first time putting on that little headset. The headset I wasn't a big fan of. It was a little cumbersome, I thought. But I remember putting it on and just talking to people. And it was kind of like, it was this like wow moment, I think, for a lot of us. Because up until that point, we really hadn't communicated on consoles, at least, like that, with other gamers.
Man. I remember the first time putting the headset on and like hearing my buddy come through, and it was like, "Are you shitting me right now? Like, what's up, dude?" I mean, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, and it really changed the landscape of how we game and how we interacted with friends. And I remember Ed Freeze and all those guys talking about Xbox Live and talking about connecting with your friends, playing with your friends list. I remember they kept talking about the friends list, and they were talking about community, and all that came to light, and it was awesome. It was such an awesome experience, and it was so new, it was so fresh. We've talked to Eric about the Sega Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast introduced online gaming, but it was 56K. It wasn't as robust as Xbox Live.
Right. Still pretty solid for its day and what it was doing, and I really think that the Dreamcast in a lot of ways was that roadmap, to where we are now.
Absolutely.
It's just a shame what happened with that console.
I know. That was that console's one of the best consoles that I've ever owned.
To this day. Yeah, hands down.
Yeah. So, Lemieux, did you own a Dreamcast? I don't think you did you?
Oh, I was in line on $99.99, man. I got one right away. It was awesome.
What about you? Yeah, what about you, Bella?
I didn't actually own a Dreamcast, but my partner at the time did, so I got to take advantage of being able to use that.
Nice. And Eric, a lot of people would in some ways would even consider the Xbox, the original Xbox, almost as the spiritual successor to the Dreamcast.
Absolutely, because you look at the titles that were on it, they were they were in a lot of ways, especially some of the franchises that kind of carried over, and and later on, between the OG Xbox and the 360, even Peter Moore said that he was just pissed off at Sony for what they did to the Dreamcast, for just kind of coming along and putting that final bullet in it, and he was like, he took it personal,
Yeah. Peter, let me tell you something. It wasn't. I don't think there was an accident that Peter joined Microsoft.
Right.
That didn't happen by accident. and that was. And
Even though he joined the company that didn't want to have anything to do with the Dreamcast, but
yeah,
that's a story for another day.
That is a story for another day. Yeah.
In response to South's question, yes, I mean partner as in significant other. I did have one of those years ago.
Then Bella played him in.
There was some crazy guy that was prepared to put up with my presence for a allotted amount of time. It did happen once. It was a thing.
I think what happened was you guys were playing Unreal Championship and you kept beating him. You got tired of it?
Just ask Digital Falcon about Blaze Blue. I'm sure he's never going to put that game on again with me.
That is too
fire shots at everybody.
I know, right? Shots fired by Bella. That is
Nothing
too funny.
can beat my Noel. If you think you can beat my Noel, come at me.
I told you, Bells, we might have to go back to Blaze Blue at least for a few days until they iron out Street Fighter V.
Yeah, those servers. But I mean, look, if you even get me started on that,
let's not talk about.
Let's move along.
Yeah, let's move along. Let's not change this from an Xbox centric podcast to talking about what's it called, Street Fighter V. But guys,
what's it called? Get out of here with that. Move on.
So So guys, I was just so I was so I really bought into the idea of Xbox Live. I mean, and
Hmm.
as a beta tester to see where they've come from, and I remember them talking about being able to buy games and earn trophies and do all these things, and there's this just focus on the gaming. And um, I remember one of the first big Xbox Live titles that we played. Let me remember this Unreal Championship.
Oh my
Um,
God. No, I've lost so many hours to Unreal Championship. It's unbelievable. That and Mech Assault were on fire
Mech
for sure.
Assault. And for me, Crimson Skies.
Yeah, Crimson Skies was another one.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something, guys. What were your favorite like early multiplayer Xbox Live titles?
Whacked.
Oh my God! Don't talk about Whacked.
Whacked was so whack.
Whacked was terrible. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, obviously, Call of Duty is going to be up there for me. Project Gotham. I love
Yeah,
Project
Project
Gotham.
Gotham. Project
Xbox.
Gotham was
That was
great.
amazing.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Mech
Project
Assault.
Mech Assault was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, so Mech Assault. If you think about like OG Xbox Live, Mech Assault, Unreal Championship, Crimson Skies for me, because that's when I was really, really into the first person shooters and playing in
Mhm.
clans because we were able to do stuff that we've never done. I mean, to be able, we would sit. I mean, so Return of Castle Wolfenstein. I ran with a clan,
Oh my
and I
God.
think our record was like 50-2. We ran ladder matches, and I forget the name of the website. And we would have scrimmages. We would have practices every night, and we had maps down. We had strategies. I mean, it was insane how coordinated we are. And it's funny, but I think yesterday or on Tuesday you said when I was talking about Call of Duty, why do people like Call of Duty? I think you mentioned because people like to play games where they can um what was it like
Test their
work.
reflexes and communicate as a team.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was for us. And it was so competitive and it was such a new experience and we would go in and just destroy people. And it was awesome. I mean, and and for console gaming that kind of experience had really never existed.
Hmm.
And it was, I think, a lot of ways. Southbound said this in the chat room. It was kind of revolutionary in a way, and I think it was. Um, I know PlayStation 2 had its, the what was it, the add-on they had for the internet?
Yeah, I had one of those on my PS2.
Yeah, but it wasn't on the same scale as what Microsoft was doing. I mean, they literally, and kind of like what they're doing now, they really just jumped. I mean, they just jumped right into the tub.
Hmm.
I mean, they really did.
I think they kind of saw in a lot of ways where things could go, and we have to remember, they are, a software company. They are a company that, you know, kind of have their finger on the pulse when it comes to like PC, computing and stuff like that. So I think they kind of saw a world where people were going to be connected and play together, and it did seem in that period in time that, you know, Nintendo and Sony didn't really necessarily care, or I won't say care, but didn't really think of it in terms of that because Nintendo was doing nothing as far as connectivity. You can probably argue that they're still catching up on that. And
Yeah,
the nature of the add-on for the PS2 seemed very much like an afterthought. For somebody who owned both, it just seemed, with Xbox Live, you could see that they were trying to put that together.
yeah, and it was an afterthought for them. And I think Sony kind of, for a long time, kind of downplayed, the idea of, online. And for a lot of gamers, I remember, reading some of the game forums. Uh, some of the stuff that I would read would be like, well, why do I want to talk to some stranger on the internet? You know, or if I wanted to play with my friends, I would have them over. I mean, those are some of the
Hmm.
things that I would read, and there was some acceptance lag with this idea of a console having connection to the internet, broadband connection, and being able to talk to your friends. As crazy as that sounds, there was some acceptance lag to that because it was new,
Hmm.
and it hadn't been done before.
Well,
And
no, because I mean, people went kind of reluctantly. Because you remember with Halo, people, you talked about LAN parties. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, a huge room, everybody's just connected, and a lot of people didn't want to see that go away because they were a little concerned. about what the online meant as far as getting together with all your crew and kind of being in one room and having like an all-night, session.
And you know what the irony of that is? Like looking back on just how hesitant people were to adopt and get on board to the Xbox Live system. And now looking at, again, we're taking what was then a huge step forward in technology and revolutionary change to the way that we gamed. We're now sitting on that same doorstep again when we're looking at the new ecosystem with the Windows 10 and Xbox One integration. And everyone's just like, oh no, it's too big, there's too much changing, I don't know what you're doing, I don't want to be playing on a PC, you're changing too much. And in like another 10 years, we'll be sitting back looking going, that was massively, completely revolutionized the way that we gamed, and now we're sitting on the next doorstep with a major revolution that's going to be coming in. It's just the way it always is. People don't like change.
Right.
In essence, a lot of them don't like change. It scares them. It concerns them that it's going to change the way that they connect or that they're able to enjoy their gaming. And at the root of it, if they just did a little bit of research, they would see that it actually doesn't change anything about anything that you do online at all. It just gives you more options, and options are good, okay? But, yeah, people just,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, people don't like change.
Okay.
At all.
Yeah.
Especially gamers.
No, they don't
Yeah.
like change. Well,
No.
you guys remember, I mean, speaking of change, I mean, what about when Microsoft announced the specs of the original Xbox, that it was going to have a built-in hard drive? People are like, oh, what is that? That's not a game console, it's a PC. I mean, there was a lot of pushback to all of that, all that with the announcement of how the hardware was built. And fast forward now to 2016 and look at both consoles. They're essentially PCs.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
I mean, I remember people even being freaked out when they announced that the controllers would be wireless, going from the OG Xbox to the 360. Something something that you wouldn't even think something like that would piss somebody off. You'd be like, oh, that's more convenient. People were like, what?
Yeah.
I gotta buy batteries. I gotta
buy batteries. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little
It's not
ridiculous.
only that, but there was a legitimate concern there about lag between the delay from the controller through to the console. But it only becomes legitimate when you're talking about people who are at an MLG status. Outside of that, it's not that big a concern.
MLG status, like Southbound.
Yeah.
Oh, hashtag
South.
MLG
Yeah.
South.
I didn't get a chance.
Southbound is in the house.
Yeah,
What is
Southbound is in
going
the house.
down?
What's up, South? How are you, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing all right. Playing a little bit of soccer cards,
I.
Oh, you and I have totally got to hit that Forza 4 DLC later.
Forza 4. I don't play that
Forza
shit.
4 DLC, aka Soccer Cards, aka Rocket League.
I'll be on this bitch all night
I hear
trying
that.
to stack some achievements. He's easy as achievements.
Save me a space.
You
Yeah, I
digging it,
heard.
South?
What's up?
So you digging it?
Yeah, it's cool. I listen. I'll pretty much play with where everybody else is playing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if everybody's in a group and we all can get down, I'm in.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So even if the game's kind of like, I'm still in it. Fuck it, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? Because I mean that's the beauty about Xbox Live. We can all get together and chat, bullshit, have a good time, have some laughs, even getting a few games in. That's what the Xbox Live is all about.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we chilled for hours last night. It was great. Everybody was just doing their own thing and having a chat about life and gaming, and that's what it's meant to be about. It's that ability for you to be able to come home, unplug from everything else that's going on, jump online with your friends, have some amazing gaming experiences, laugh your ass off, have a great time, and then go to bed feeling better about the world.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox Live allows you to do that. Same as
Especially,
PSN.
and especially when you get on some Call of Duty and you kill some motherfuckers, and you're like, you know what? Okay, now I don't have to murder anybody today because I got all my frustration
No
out.
need to go to play school anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you're like in that Adam Sandler movie. Okay, there goes my list. I can cross everybody off the list now. I don't have to shoot nobody.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, South, so I saw in the live chat you got on board of Xbox 2004, right?
2004, yeah.
Yeah. So for you, for your first experience with Xbox Live, what was that like for you?
I mean, revolutionary.
Yeah.
Like this was like the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It all started because I was never really a big gamer growing up. I played a little bit here and there. You know, when I was little, I played, Super Mario and Duck Hunt, all those stupid little games. But I was never really like the gamer like other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I got a PS2 for Vice City. Now that was pretty big for me. I played a lot of that. It wasn't until my buddy who actually lived with me at the time, he bought himself an Xbox, the OG Xbox, and he had Halo 2, and first person shooter for me, I was nauseous. I mean, as soon as I looked around, I was like, oh my god, I felt like I was gonna puke, Until he popped in Ghost Recon 2. You talk about love at first sight. I was smitten. I was like, I gotta have this girl. She's gonna be mine. So the very next day, or maybe a couple days later, I went out and bought myself an Xbox, and the rest is history.
Mm.
Because and the funny thing is, I was able to get a good buddy of mine who lives down the street from me. I was able to get him to buy an Xbox, and then my other roommate bought an Xbox. So there was 3 of us in the house that were all playing Ghost Recon 2, and over the headsets, over broadband internet, we were all able to play, and it was pretty damn cool. And then from there, the community opened itself to everybody playing on Ghost Recon. I mean, even after the 360 was out, we were still playing Ghost Recon on the OG Xbox until they updated their emulator to play Ghost Recon 2 on the 360.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's great about Xbox Live and what it did for the community. I mean, so South, I think we've talked about this before, where we've over the course of Xbox Live, you met so many friends and have kept in touch with people over the last decade. I mean, so South Lemieux, Bryan or Lemieux 66, who's with us, I've known him for 14 years. We met as beta testers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. See, you're talking what, 13, 14 years now?
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, really, for a lot of people, that's a lifetime.
Yeah, it is.
You've met legit friends that are they're real friends.
Yeah.
People they like to discount. Oh, well, you're just online friends. Oh, you play a stupid video game, or get a life. It's like, well, hold on. Just because we don't sit and see each other every single day, or we don't break bread at dinner or whatever, doesn't mean we're not real friends.
Mm.
You don't have to see somebody all the time to have a relationship, to have a friendship with them.
That's true.
Absolutely. It's amazing relationships that you can create with people who you know online. I mean, look at all of us. I've only met Bryan tonight, but a lot of us have known each other for a long time. We play video games together. We chat about things going on in our lives together. It's not just about gaming. It's about creating that connection to another human being that you normally, outside of being able to do so through Xbox Live or PSN or any of those kind of programs, you would never.
Well, I'm not on PSN, so I don't know nothing about that.
Well, I'm on PSN, and I know that PSN just as good.
Hey, look. You know what that is, right? Degree. I'm an Xbox.
It's called a hat. It's called a hat. Yes, I've seen this.
This right here, boom, Xbox gang.
A printed design, yes. No, look, all services have their pluses and minuses. They all have their pros and cons, and we're all here because we favor Xbox. And I've always been very open about that. People know that I play on PlayStation. They know I play on PC. But my home for gaming has always been, and for as far as I can see into the foreseeable future, will always be Microsoft-based systems.
Yeah. You know, guys, and if I think as we talk about the community, the Xbox Live stuff, and the friendships, that's something I remember them talking about at E3, like, and driving that point home. And it's amazing to kind of like to be a beta tester, you know, Lemieux and I'm sure Lemieux, you have this point of view and this appreciation for how it's transformed. Lemieux, you got to remember the feedback and the surveys and things they used to ask us as beta testers. What do you want? What do you want to see in Xbox Live? And I think for a lot of the beta testers, we and I feel like this. I feel like, and I've talked to a lot of my other friends who I still game with on live who are beta testers. We kind of feel like we built this. Because they really did ask a lot of input from us in terms of things and features we wanted. And to see this thing where it is today is just amazing because 10 years ago, 14 years ago, they were talking about the store, the friends, and being able to buy games online. And live just opened up the marketplace for developers to do things that they hadn't done before and to touch gamers in ways that they've never been touched before. That doesn't sound right, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah, that kind of made my nipples hard.
Only if you're
But,
over the age of 18.
18 and over.
Touch you.
Look,
That is so touching.
South had to take off his
Yeah,
earbud
my
there.
ear
He's
got
like, whoa.
moist. My ear got moist.
He's like, whoa. But
All right,
yeah.
well,
I
we
just
get
want to go on record as saying I'm not okay with touching. Keep your hands to yourself.
You're not okay with touching on Xbox Live. Got it.
I'm not okay with the touching.
Wow,
feeling.
that's really yeah. I'm unfriending you now.
That's too funny. That could happen in VR, guys, but that's another conversation.
Well, that's a whole other podcast right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, Eric, we know what's going to drive VR.
We already said it.
Oh, we talked about that. What was it a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's gonna be the porn industry. I don't care what they. Oh no, we won't have that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait till them sales start plummeting. Well, they're like, oh hey, there's a whole another sector for this.
It's proven through history who drives new technologies.
Well, porn.
Everybody wants to touch themselves. And that's saying lightly. I'm trying to be respectful here.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
So, video games. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Actually, hey, Worry's in the chat room now. Worry, what's up? Worry's like, I'm waiting for you guys on live. So Worry's on Xbox
Hey,
Live right now.
I'm actually on, Worry. I'm waiting for you to send me a party invite, brother.
Yeah, Worry. Southbound is on. He's waiting for you. So
I'm waiting for you to touch me. Reach out and touch me. With them big, strong muscles.
my God, he does have.
I don't even.
That dude's a monster.
So we all agree that Xbox is
More
great.
tub pictures coming your way.
Morehouse. Like, all right. So yes, but like Bella said, Xbox is great. Xbox Live is great. It, I'm sorry, guys.
Honestly, every time I jump in, I fucking ruin it for you.
No,
I
no,
apologize.
you don't
That
sound.
guy's a dirtbag. God. Don't
You know
talking
what?
about nasty shit.
No, South. Let me tell you something. The podcast we did with you and Worry, I still think that was wow. But oh god, I just lost my train of thought because I'm thinking about Worry's muscles. Oh, that's terrible.
Okay, so moving right along, on the original Xbox, what game was everybody's favorite game that they played? What's the one game that stands out in your mind as something that cemented to you that your money that you paid for the original Xbox was worth it?
Ghost Recon 2.
Nice.
I say it all the time. I played that for. I'd have to say like 5,000 hours.
Oh
Wow.
shit!
Wait, South, is that a guess or is that like a real yeah? I
No,
probably,
that's like legit. I literally slept on that fucking game. You're talking
me.
about a guy. We used to have like 10-hour clan matches. So
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Wow.
you can rack up some hours there, man.
Yeah.
For real.
like, tag me in. Oh, it's no. Okay, fuck no. Another round.
I remember that South. I remember those days, man. I remember.
Game battles, baby.
Yeah, I remember staying up till like 6 in the morning in clan matches, man. We'd start at like 2 o'clock. No, we started at like midnight. And it's a 6-hour clan matches, just stagnant matches back and forth.
What was your clan name? What was your clan?
Well, I started off with a clan called the Brotherhood, and then it was Rogue Nation. And we used to get so much shit as Rogue Nation. They used to call our tag was RN, so people used to talk shit
Registered
to
nurses.
us. Yeah, registered nurses. They used to
Registered.
talk-
Medic.
Yeah,
Medic.
exactly. But Southman Wolfenstein, Return of Castle Wolfenstein was probably that to me was that was my Ghost Recon was Return of Castle Wolfenstein. That game
Yeah,
was
that was insane.
that shit was awesome with the different character classes. We used to run the clan that I was in. We ran like I forget what website it was, but the ladder matches we were like almost undefeated. It was ridiculous. And then I would say that, and for me, I would say Halo 2 because the Halo 2 multiplayer was ridiculous.
Yeah, see, and there's a reason why that one is still remembered fondly amongst Xbox gamers because that was another game changer. Because it just went hand in hand with where Xbox Live was going.
Yep.
You know, yeah, you talk about hours. I mean, my clan was involved more in Halo 2, and we were Cobra Kai Dojo.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
what about
nice. Cobra Kai Dojo? I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think we lost South. What about the matchmaking feature, which is huge? I mean, and that was to me that was really I thought the centerpiece of Halo 2 with the matchmaking with the ranking system.
Yeah. Now,
That was revolutionary.
is that still being used like in Halo 5? Because I had someone actually like ask me that. Because matchmaking in Halo 2 and like Halo 3 was crazy.
It was crazy, yeah.
You know.
I think Halo 5. I want to say they are using the rank system, or I don't know. I honestly I haven't played a lot of it, so I'm not the expert. I can't say for sure.
But at that time it was awesome because I mean you actually felt like you could compete.
Yeah,
You know?
no, yeah, because you were getting pulled in the same rank.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
any of you gentlemen or ladies played Master Chief Collection lately, and is it working? If so, online?
Yes
I've
and
not.
yes.
Yeah, I've not played it
But
since
that-
before Halo 5 came out, but it is working. Yes.
It's working better than Street Fighter 5.
Oh,
Who
You can't
says
say
that?
those kind of things in the green
Who
room,
said that? Have
man.
you played Street Fighter 5 today? Have you checked the servers and seen that they're working just 100% fine?
You know, Bella, I have not played it. I don't even own it.
Well,
oh, she called you out. Ooh.
Yeah, she did. That's okay, Bella. That's okay. Well, you know what? I might have to. Bella, are you good at Street Fighter 5?
you should buy it and you can find out firsthand.
Look at that, Bella. You love talking smack. I love it though. It's great. I was telling Eric, I was like, Bella's so hardcore. That is so cool.
No, I'm not hardcore. I just call it how it is.
I don't know. You're a clan leader. I don't know. that seems pretty hardcore to me. So
Yeah.
Well, Awesome Clan's been around for 4 years now, and for a couple of years there, we finished in the top 3% of clans of Call of Duty in the world. So those guys who make up the body of the clan, they got some serious skills.
yeah.
Hey, didn't you guys mention Reckless before?
So yeah, Reckless. Did you guys? I actually.
Digital Falcon just mentioned that one.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I actually picked that up launch day one.
I don't remember that game.
You don't remember that? It was
Nah.
Reckless. Actually, was actually a demo for the Xbox that they ended up turning into a game.
Mm.
And it used to have. I mean, the game. It really wasn't. It really wasn't a great game. I mean, it was. It was really more of a to kind of showcase the power of the Xbox.
Mhm.
And when they turned it into a game, it was very like you would drive around a car and you'd have to I forget you'd have to complete missions by picking people up, not picking people up. I don't know. I forget
I'm
it was.
thinking Crazy Taxi now.
Yeah, I'm thinking Crazy Taxi, but no, it was it was just driving around. But but the game would show you like when you'd finish like a map or a mission, it would show you a replay of the mission, and the visuals, the replay were just ridiculous. They were awesome, and so, but yeah, I remember that game. It was okay. It wasn't great.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question for all of you.
Go ahead.
What has been your biggest, most memorable experience that you have had on Xbox Live?
You don't want to know, Bella.
I guess I do want to know because
No,
if
you really don't want to know. I'm being serious. I'm not even making that shit up. You don't want to know. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, well, that's for sure. Over to
Mine
you.
was probably connecting with some family who lives out of town, my nephew, and then jumping on Xbox Live and playing some Halo. It was
Ooh,
just awesome being able
I
to,
got a story.
almost like you're sitting next to some family on the couch playing video games is really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on what Lemieux said. I kind of said that earlier, that the first time like putting on the headset and like hearing my buddy on the other side, and we were getting ready to play. I think at that time Halo 2. You know, when we both got on at the same time together, and it was just like, what? You know. So yeah, I don't think that can be matched. That first time you do that.
And you know what? Speaking of family, Lemieux, so there was a guy that Lemieux and I used to play with on Xbox Live, Tilo Brown, who probably doesn't listen to this podcast. And actually, Lemieux,
I was playing the Division beta with him tonight, actually.
oh, were you really?
Yeah,
Okay. How's Tilo doing?
he's good.
Yeah.
Very
So Tilo actually, so Lemieux's sister used to play on Xbox Live, and Tilo fell in love with Lemieux's sister. This is a true story, by the way. I'm not even making this up.
It is true.
That might be my fondest memory of Xbox Live then, or one of them. So
Love was blooming over the Xbox for sure.
yeah.
What about you, Bells?
Completing the Shangri-La Easter egg after weekend with the same crew, trying to get it done, and us all having like some very specific roles, and it coming down to like almost a military type attack. Like, you go here, you do this, you go there, you do that, right? You're going to open this door, and then I'm going to open that door. You kill this many zombies, and then you babysit that zombie. And then we're going to go over here, and we're going to do this. We'll open that door, then we'll do this. And, like, we're talking about hours that has to go into shit going down like that for you to complete that Shangri-La Easter egg. That's something that can only happen if you're communicating with the people you're gaming with. It was an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
If you haven't completed the Shangri-La Easter egg in Call of Duty, you don't really get to call yourself a Call of Duty fanatic.
You're not a gamer.
You're not a gamer, Bella.
Weirdo.
You're not a gamer. Hey, you know what, guys? One thing I want to talk about quickly is, and we mentioned this spiritual successor to the Dreamcast. One of the things that I thought made the Xbox, the original Xbox, a success, and let's remember too, for Microsoft to step into the gaming arena, to the console arena, and go up against an established, Sony brand, Nintendo. Microsoft was kind of stepping into an uncharted territory where I think the last, Western-based game console that was successful was the Atari, and here comes Microsoft, and they land Ninja Gaiden, which we talked about on Tuesday, Eric.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite games to this day.
Oh, that Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox was the shit. That game was
And you
awesome.
know what? That was Dark Souls before.
Yes.
For a lot of people.
Yes, it was the difficulty in that game. You remember that?
Yeah, a lot of people were turned off by Ninja Gaiden.
I remember that. I remember reading some of the reviews, and they were saying that it's not. It may have been GameSpot that had the review. You may remember Greg Kasavin.
Greg Kasavin, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he may have done the review for it. And by the way, he's an indie developer now. But that game, yeah, it was. A lot of the reviews said it was challenging, and it was. But it was such a great game, and Itagaki, that game was, to me, that's the best Gaiden that I played.
When you finish it, you felt like a boss. You were like,
yeah, you did.
But I mean, let's be quite frank about this, though. The thing that made Xbox what it is Halo.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Halo, some clever marketing, mix in some Bill Gates, sprinkle a little bit of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in, and bam.
And it was
Consoles
not an easy road for them. I mean, I remember when they announced that Microsoft was going to get into the console game, people were just like,
people
what?
laughed.
Yeah. I mean, it flopped in Europe and Japan when they tried to put the original Xbox there. It took quite some time for them to get any momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't talk about the original Xbox without mentioning the original Xbox Duke controller. That thing was massive.
Oh yeah.
You could like hold open the door in a thunderstorm with that thing.
Bella said you could hold the. Oh my god.
You might as well hold like 2 baked potatoes in your hand and like
Yeah, for
stick
real.
them together with like a like a stick in between. That thing was
Yeah.
huge.
It's like an episode from The Wizard of Oz. Like everything's flying around, the house is flying. The Xbox One, like the original Xbox controllers, like they're holding the door open, not moving.
Oh my gosh.
The only thing left after a house is to like toppled over.
Yeah, it's the original Xbox controllers. Just like they're going. So, want to play some video games?
Oh yeah. Best thing they did is that S controller.
The S controller was the best thing they did. You're right, because that launch controller was just massive. I mean, I remember taking out the box and that controller that was the PC controller they had at the time, really. And I remember just like picking that shit up, and I'm like, man, this thing is massive. Eric, did you say it was like 2 baked potatoes?
That's what it seemed like. It was
Yeah,
like crazy.
that's like it's like what it was. And you guys, even the damn console was heavy. I mean, the console was pretty heavy.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you
You
could.
could do some
I
damage.
tell you what, though, I'm sitting here staring at my OG Xbox, sitting next to my Xbox One. There isn't a significant size difference between the two.
That's what she said.
I mean, there's a lot of height.
Oh my god.
Probably looking at an additional inch with a height
Mm.
to the console, but overall, they're pretty close to each other in size and design.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but you didn't hear about like a lot of failure rates with the OG Xbox, right?
No, you
I
didn't.
tell you what, I still have my original Xbox, but I had to replace my 360 like 5 times.
Right. So it's like
Yes.
when Microsoft
They
tried
don't
to,
make them like they used
try to
to.
go small, get sexy, try to be, it was like, nope, thing just blew up. So I think when you got the Xbox One, they were like, fuck that. We're not even.
And it has class. It has some style. Like, you look at the design of the original Xbox, if they came out with something that looked like that now, that would still fly. That would still be okay. Like,
It might be.
They nailed it with the first design.
Well, you
It
remember
might
those
be.
original concept designs? It was like the X that
The
sat
X.
up on the table.
I remember that. The X, yeah.
Well, you know that it wasn't initially actually going to be called the Xbox. It actually had a different name.
What was it going to
Yeah.
be called originally?
The Direct Xbox.
Yeah. the
Oh, that's right. I did
Xbox.
hear that. And actually, they did. They didn't think Microsoft's marketing didn't think the Xbox name was a good name until they tested it on focus groups. Yeah, exactly. We just said the same thing. Jinx.
They did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even down to like the color. The color wasn't. It's not like they sat in a room and said green should be the color. It came down to like an accident.
Well, when you go and have a look at the different colors so obviously gaming, particularly back then, was a male-centric pastime. When you go and have a
Still
look at
is.
the different colors that have been done, not necessarily. There's still a lot of
Women don't
females.
game, Bella. Women don't game.
Fuck yourself. So if you go and have a look at the color
Wait.
chart,
Hold
there's been studies done that prove that one of the most popular colors amongst men is green. So
Yeah,
that's why they actually went with that.
because we like money.
Well, actually, no. They think they told the story on Ryan McCaffrey interviewed Peter Moore, Seamus Blackley, and Phil Spencer, and they said it came down. They were heading to a meeting, and all the markers were like that they used and the designs were gone, and the only ones that were left were green. And it ended up being kind of like a happy mistake.
It worked
Yeah, that
out.
was on IGN. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw it as well.
Which is
Yeah.
crazy. You think
Yeah.
about it because now it's just synonymous with the console.
It is. It very
You
much
know?
is.
But I think, also like what Bella's saying, when it came down to it, green is a dominant color.
Yeah.
You know.
Guys,
And
it's,
it particularly suits the scene right now because we're looking at this, whole ecosystem. Usually when people think of the terminology ecosystem, they're thinking about nature.
Yeah,
And the predominant color in nature is also green. It just kind of goes hand in hand.
it really does. Yeah.
no, it does. It really does. You know what's interesting as we talk about the ecosystem, and we look back at the original Xbox, and I think Bella, you mentioned how the idea was to bring like the PC to the living room to play games.
Yeah, basically they wanted to take a very powerful gaming rig and turn it into a plug-and-play console that would allow developers to be able to, used to actually putting games into fruition via the PC, they were then able to take that knowledge and easily adapt it to the current Xbox architecture, and that's where they wanted to go with that.
Yeah. And so here we are 16 years later, and we're kind of seeing the same thing almost, I think, right? I mean, with the ecosystem. At least to me, that seems like that. Seems like maybe the seeds. I don't think this idea is new. You know, if we go back in history and look at why the original Xbox was made and the idea behind it, like you said, the architecture piece, the PC in the living room. Here we are in 2016, and I feel like that's kind of like the same message.
All right. One moment.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Southbound.
Southbound.
I was trying to sneak in, man. Why you put me on blast for?
I was getting ready to announce it, but Bella beat me to the punchline. So
Trying to sneak through the back door.
No, I could say something. I'm not going to. South. So
why you always gotta bring it so nasty, bro?
I know. You know what?
He does. Like, he really does. He really has to go there every opportunity he gets. You know what? You need to go get yourself some ass, and then maybe you won't need to come up with it on the podcast.
It's like, yeah.
Bella, you know what? You're right. I gotta go. I gotta get some ass, but I can't because my wife's in Boston right now, so it's not happening.
Hey, you know there's some VR tech that you can potentially buy.
I could get some Oculus.
There you go.
Just say, lock the door.
Yeah, lock the door. Lock the door. Exactly. Oh my gosh, that's. You know, it's. I think.
1.5 hours a week, Enrique. You need to keep your mind out of the goddamn gutter. 1.5 hours a week.
Okay,
Bella. Come on, we're men. There's no such
exactly.
thing. We live in the fucking gutter.
Yeah, Bella, that's come on, really? 1.5 hours? That's not happening. That's not happening.
You said like maybe like 5 minutes or something, but no.
5 minutes might be realistic.
Maybe.
So those video games, pretty awesome, right?
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. Video games are really, really great, but ass is pretty damn exquisite. Just
ass is exquisite. Oh my god.
It's a delicacy. Just. Mwah.
It is. It is a delicacy. So I've totally lost my train of thought. So.
See, I always gotta come through and just fuck everything up.
So what were we just? We were
about to move on to why he thinks that Xbox Live was the pinnacle turning point in the introduction of that service, and why everybody, I think it was like 150,000 people, took up that service in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it was such a game changer for the industry too. I mean, that it set a lot of things that we see in motion, but I think to go back to what we're talking about, the reasons why in 1998 they came up with the idea of the Xbox, and Bella, you mentioned to create a powerful machine or console that would play PC games and bring PC games or gaming to the living room. This idea of PC games in the living room, Microsoft behind it, I don't know. This, as people are kind of surprised by some of the more recent announcements, the news of, exclusives going to PC, perhaps this isn't really surprising given what the reason behind the plans for the original Xbox anyway. I mean, what do you guys think?
Eric, over to you.
Hello, anyone? Eric, you there? Or South?
Well, nobody wants to jump
Lemieux?
in.
Nobody wants to jump in.
You know what?
No one wants to jump in. They don't want to talk over the top of each other. So best to
Well, yeah, because I'm actually on my phone, so I got a little bit of delay.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for me to judge if someone's going to talk or not.
Yeah.
But
what do you think, South?
When it comes to the whole PC, Xbox, thing coming together, I mean, it was inevitable. They just have to have the right platform to unify it, because they've tried it a couple times already. Windows gaming and this and that, and it's really been, quite frankly, pretty bad. And so they need to. I don't know. I'm not a PC guy, so I can't tell you. Well, Microsoft needs to do this to make PC gaming successful for them.
Yeah.
But I am obviously Xbox is their core audience and their core business. So they definitely have to walk a fine line to try to not alienate them, because really we're most important when it comes to their revenue stream.
Right.
I think Microsoft's enamored with the whole, well, Windows 10 is on 300 million PCs. Like, yeah, but even just because it's on, I mean, it could be on a whack-ass laptop, doesn't mean that they're going to be able to play video games on it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not Candy Crush.
Right. That, and it doesn't mean that those are all gamers.
Exactly.
Where most of the people who are buying Xboxes, especially now. I mean, it was different, I think, probably middle of last generation, when most like services like Netflix and things like that, people were buying these consoles to get access to that. But now you have so many dongles and set tops and things like that. So right now, specifically, people who are buying Xbox Ones and PS4s are specifically mostly buying them for gaming. So you're right. You can't leave that. It's not even that they're leaving that audience behind, but you have to speak directly to that audience and tell them, what are you doing? Put us at ease.
You hit the nail right on the head, because when all this Quantum Break shit came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, I was lied to! Oh, I'm gonna go cry! Wah, wah, wah. I'm gonna jump on my fucking soapbox and just cry and holler at the stars, and I'm gonna complain on fucking Twitter and listen." They should have done spin control, damage control right out the gate. They could have said, "Listen, hold on, we got a little event planned for the 25th of February. Right. We'll be going further." Telling you exactly what our plan is. So hold off your judgment and don't freak out just yet. Wait till you see what we're going, and let us show you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But now and I've said this a couple of times on different podcasts I've been on. It's human nature to think the worst and to expect like, oh my God, they're giving up on the Xbox One. That's it. It's a wrap. We'll never see another generation of Xbox consoles. And it's like, well, hold on. Just because they want another revenue stream from a game, titles going to Windows 10, doesn't mean that they're pulling out of the console space.
No, it means that they're trying to remain solvent with this division.
It's at the end of the day, it's a business, and they want to make money. So if Quantum Break going to PC further ensures that we're going to get another Quantum Break 2, a sequel, that we might actually get an Alan Wake 2, because you think about it. What if Alan Wake came out on PC and it sold pretty damn good? We're saying, you know what? Okay, it's worth our investment to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to say this, then correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember like last generation, everyone now is crowing about Alan Wake, but where were those same people?
Honestly, that the funny thing is, I thought it sold well enough to warrant a sequel. And I guess it didn't, And
I think it was pretty good numbers, but for whatever reason, they didn't go that route. But it's just like, but now everyone's like, oh, Alan Wake.
Well, I thought it was one of the better games of the 360 generation. It was a really, really good game. Remedy knows their shit, and they know how to make a damn good game. I don't think anybody, denies that or questions that.
No, not at all. And that's why, when they would delay, I was like, you give Remedy all the damn time they need. Because when they deliver, it's going to be legit.
And I think what really hurt Alan Wake the most was how long it took to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the development cost was much more than people realize. So that's why we say, well, it sold, 5 million. Well, yeah, but I guess it really cost a lot of money to develop. So they really didn't. I think they made money, but it wasn't like a hit that you would think, because there wasn't like a Game of the Year edition for that, was it? Where they included all the DLC and everything.
No.
My biggest question with Microsoft not releasing PC games alongside Xbox games is going to be when it's a game such as maybe Gears of War, or a game that's based on multiplayer. The PC players don't have to pay a yearly fee like we do with Xbox Live.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I've been hearing that a lot in the last week. I don't. Yeah, they don't get the same service. They don't get games with gold. They don't have.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're
there's other
paying
things.
$60 a
Right.
year for nearly $1,000 worth of free games. If you take that one particular part of the service and
Well,
segregate it from
but
everything
hold
else,
on, Bella.
you're
Hold on.
getting
Let
$1,000
me.
potentially worth of free games, and that's not even the service.
Yeah, but
But if
go
you're
ahead,
really
South. Go
paying
ahead.
$60 a year for Xbox Live, you're not looking around.
Oh yeah,
I
you
don't know
get
who
it for
pays
40,
60.
30
Yeah,
bucks every.
yeah, you get
every-
35, $40 all the time. So if you're
Yeah.
paying $60, you're cheating yourself.
Some people get it for free using Bing Rewards, so
Well,
Or
I was
people
talking
know
about
each other
purchase
and
price in
get
general.
codes.
codes. South, you want some code, South? Is that what you're telling me?
Yep, break
But
bread.
basically, at the end of the day, if you take
From
away
now on, if you
everything
want me on
that
your
service provides
podcast,
you,
got to give me codes.
I gotta give-
You got to pay me.
I gotta pay you. I gotta give you codes.
Yeah, South is no longer a free. You know, it's no longer free to play.
I'm sorry, Bella. Go ahead. What were you saying, Bella?
I'm just worried about South's microtransactions right now.
You worried about what?
South's microtransactions.
Why? You know, you gotta pay your developers. You know,
So,
you're
basically,
paying
you take
for
the
a
Xbox Live
service.
and you look at all the things that it provides you and all the functionality that you get from it. And then additionally, as something that was never agreed to be a part of your Xbox Live service anyway, you're getting 4 games per month that you can play on your Xbox One if you so wish. That will equal up to approximately anywhere between $700 and $1,000 throughout the year. And at the most, you're paying 60 USD for that service. I don't think anybody can complain about that.
No.
No,
But then-
I agree, but that doesn't mean people won't complain.
No, I
People
mean,
like
but
to complain just to complain.
I complain because they're telling us we're one and the same. We're part of this ecosystem, right? So,
But you don't
That's-
get that on the PC. Like, you're not getting these free games on the PC. They're giving you the other core functions of the service so that you have that ability and you're not just jumping online and you can't chat with anybody or make friends or whatever. But they're not giving you the entire service that we get and pay for
but
on the Xbox.
but isn't the very core of that service though to really game online? I mean, isn't that really what it is?
Pretty much.
That's my point. I mean, I understand we get these free games, but at the core, what most people are using Xbox Live for, and look, I love the fact they redid Games with Gold. They needed to. They did that. It's great. But I use Xbox Live for gaming, and it's a gaming service. It's you go online, you play with your friends, you get into all online multiplayer games, but there's this group that doesn't have to pay for that. You know,
Yeah, and there is also gamers on Steam who don't have to pay for some third-party software that they use to be able to chat with, that they can use Skype to be in a party with all of their friends who are playing the same game on their PC. It's the same thing, and they know that. They know that if they try and charge people on PC to be able to be in a party with each other, they're going to get a royal big fuck you.
Well, yeah, they will. They
third-party programs and software applications that they can use to achieve that already.
No, and that's true. I mean, they can't do it because for that, and they
No,
tried
they already
Windows.
offer Skype.
Yeah, and they tried Windows
right.
Live, and that didn't work. No, I get that, but that doesn't make me feel any better. You know, and look, I'm okay. Look, at the end of the day, I'm going to pay what I pay for Xbox Live.
I think you just
Well,
brought up one of the most
let me
important points.
make it. Let me make a little analogy here. Remember when last generation, when everyone was like, "Oh, you're paying $60 for Xbox Live, and we're on PlayStation, we get it for free." You see what happened this generation when they had to pay it? They did it anyways.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So honestly, at the end of the day, it's kind of irrelevant.
And
PC gaming is gonna still, have their perks for PC gaming, and the Xbox is gonna have its perks for being on a console.
Right. And even
And I think
off the
Enrique
bat,
kind of inadvertently, actually, you know what, Eric, I'm going to rant for a little bit, so you go
for it.
first. No, you go first.
No. I was just gonna say people don't remember, or maybe they do remember, but Live was $49.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But then they switched gears and they brought it to 60, and people bitched and complained. And like Sal said, what do? You got in line and you said, okay, well, because if you're gonna game, you're gonna game.
Yeah.
So you can tantrum and then pick yourself up and get in the goddamn truck. You know?
It's all cool to voice your concerns and your criticisms in the right way.
Right.
But to go and beat a drum, out in the sky and cry and, say, oh, you lied to me and this and this and this, it's just unbecoming,
Exactly.
and it just doesn't look good.
Too.
No, it is. And it looks bad on everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, like Crap, for instance, he went on, it's all well known exactly what happened to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of like the poster boy for being a spoiled fucking fanboy. But the thing is now that he's like the Antichrist, the gaming world right now, he's kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, he was vilified. I think the only website that didn't go after, pick it up was IGN, but Kotaku and they all, say, oh, this guy. I mean, I don't know how many YouTube videos I've seen. They're just like, this fucking clown, So now he has to roll with it. Now he has to continue on his little, mission, and it's really unfair because he is one of the biggest Xbox supporters, and now he's in the catch-22 because it's like, does he stay the course or does he do what everybody else should do and just kind of fall in line and just trust in the vision that Xbox has going forth?
He can just keep being a walking contradiction. It works for him.
I mean, obviously we all know controversy sells and people feed into that and they want to see that. So, you know what, if that works for him, then God bless him, Me personally, I don't like to have controversy. I don't want to, I don't want people to say, man, I can't wait to see what South's going to say today, what outrageous thing is he going to do now?
It's got to be exhausting trying to keep up with that and figure out every day.
No, it is. You know what I mean? No,
it is. Yeah.
Figure out every day. Okay, what am I going to say today? That's going to
Yeah. Well, hey Bella, you wanted to chime in and share some thoughts.
Yeah, with the rant. I wanted to hear the rant.
Yeah, I was going to have a little bit of a rant, and the reason behind this is that I think, Enrique, you and I'm not throwing you under a bus here, so please don't feel like that.
Yeah, you are. It's okay.
But you kind of like expressed a part of a viewpoint that I feel is one of the major issues in gaming at the moment when it comes to services like this. It is a focus of, why is that person getting one more P on their plate than I'm getting? Why are they getting something that I'm not getting? Why are you having more fun doing this than I am having doing this? As opposed to, damn, I've got a great service here.
Wait, hold on.
Damn,
you want P in your plate?
You need a shush. You've had your
No,
turn.
Sal, I don't think that's what she meant, man.
Well, she said P on your plate.
Peas as in the vegetable group. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
This message has been brought to you by South Gun 110.
They're worried about what's happening in the neighbor's next yard. They're worried about the service that they think they should be getting that they're not getting. They're worried about everything other than what they're actually getting. You don't sit down to an amazing meal and look over at the table next to you and be like, oh my God, that guy's getting that.
I do if the girl's hot.
You sit down to the meal and you enjoy the meal that you're eating.
Damn right.
Yeah, but you know what, Bella? You got to remember something though. It's that Microsoft messages that we're the same. I think that's why people are raising that question. If we're the same and we're part of the ecosystem. Well,
for the PC gamers and console gamers don't get along.
But that they have to be better at everything.
No, but you're not being treated the same. That's the issue people are having, is that the messages, we're all part of this ecosystem, we're the same, but one group doesn't have to pay for something the other group doesn't, and that's why people are upset.
And one group gets $1,000 worth of free games a year. So don't the people that should be pissed off, shouldn't they be the people on PC and not the people on Xbox?
Okay, then what's to say? No, but what's to say? If you got to believe, if they want to compete with Steam, right, on PC, they're gonna have to start offering free stuff. That could potentially come too. I mean, we're seeing. If Microsoft is serious about competing in the PC space, they're gonna have to do something like what Steam does with the Steam sales, offering free content. Right now, Sega's offering free games on Steam. And so that's the only reason I bring this up.
Complaining about this is if you are feeling like you are not being treated as an equal, if you are feeling like you are not getting as good of a service as someone else is, A, why aren't you going and playing on that platform if it's that goddamn important to you? And B, why don't you just actually have to think about the service that you're getting, the experience that you're getting, the games that you're playing, the memories that you're taking away, and think to yourself, is that enough for me? Have I enjoyed my time online tonight? Am I enjoying the games I'm playing? Am I happy with the people I get to interact with? Then if your answer is yes, why the fuck are you concerned about what's going on in PC? Just be happy with what you're getting.
Jesus Christ.
Bella is on fire. Bella, you know what? That is the most passionate rant I've ever heard, and I love it. I think it's great. But
I'm sick of people complaining that somebody else is getting something they're not. If you want the thing that somebody else is getting that you're not getting, go and fucking get it. Don't complain that your mummy or your daddy isn't spoon feeding you. Go and get what you need to make your gaming experience.
But at the same time, hold on. But at the same time, you're talking about, and I hate to keep pointing that crap, but like I said, right now he's the poster boy. So, but the thing is, he's been a console warrior for all this time, and he's bled green, he's repped Xbox to the heart, and he's been in this console war. Not saying that they ask him to, but he's been a soldier on the fucking front lines. So of course he'd feel like, hey, all this, war I've done, and now I'm getting shit on. Like,
what about us? Is he getting shit on by games going to PC? They're not going to PlayStation. They're not going to the Wii.
Because it feels like he was misled. That's his thing. He feels like he's
misled.
But we're talking about one instance here. We're talking about Quantum Break that was marketed poorly. They should have never come out. And you know what?
But see, that's the thing. This is just the start. This is just the start.
I know it's just the start. And this is them easing our feet into the hot water. Easing us into the bowl.
Hey, actually, you know what, guys? Let me just interject here real quickly. I mean, I think that Bella, what you said, this is them easing us into hot water. And Eric, we've talked about this with Wari, I think, in the last podcast or offline or whatever. And you know what's going to happen, and this kind of happened, I think, with the original Xbox 2, and people not being comfortable with, online gaming and talking to friends. There's going to be, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to please everyone. There's going to be people that are going to move along with this, and there's others that are not. And I think that's
absolutely.
People are afraid of change.
Yeah, it's acceptance lag. It's acceptance lag. It's just it's part of technology. It happens. And
South is 100% right. People do have a right to
I
be
know I'm right.
over it. I am not saying that if anybody who is upset about it has no right to be upset. South is 100% right. These people who have been out there championing Xbox all these years have an absolute legitimate reason to be upset. However, if they took a step back from the, I guess, one-track road of Xbox, and actually took a look at where things are going, they would know, and they probably do know this anyway, but they would know there was no way that this wasn't going to happen, that this is the way that they're moving forward with their ecosystem.
Okay, but see, that's all well and fine, and everybody knew that this is the direction they were leading to. They should have said it and laid it out earlier.
Agreed.
That's the issue. That's the core issue, is they should have told us, listen, Quantum Break is going to eventually come out for PC. And, because they've been talking about blurring the lines between console and PC for a while, for a couple of years now. And everybody that's paying attention knows that this was going to happen. So bottom line is, right now, the issue is their wording, their message. They didn't lay out their plans for their fans, their supporters, sufficiently. That's the issue at core.
Well, Sal, do you think that maybe that, February, was it 25th, where they have the Xbox, Microsoft? I mean, maybe they outlined the plan then.
Well, see, that's what I'm hoping that they do.
I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think they're going to do that? I mean, I think they will.
I think they have to. Now, at this point,
Well,
they have to.
they have to, and I think they're going to.
There's absolutely no way that they won't. They've learned a valuable lesson about marketing and the delivery of their message, and that's like Microsoft have a strong history of taking user feedback on board and applying it to everything that they do from their own end. So there's no way in the world that they're not going to take away this debacle with Quantum Break and learn from it and evolve the way that they're doing things from here.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
it
it's
was a
just
fuck
funny.
up. We
It
all
seems
fuck
like
up
with
every now and again.
it just seems like with Xbox right now in this generation, they take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Like they really can't get ahead. You know,
Well,
and you know, for some things it's frustrating.
yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that I have a problem with the whole PC thing, or you know, that they should have talked to me about it. You know, I should have had say so. That's not what I'm saying. My whole thing is okay if that's your plan, and PC gaming and console gaming is you're gonna blur the line. Let us know that hey, this doesn't mean that we're moving away from the hardware side of it. Like
Yeah,
I mean, because I had to reach out because for a second I got a little worried. And like I said, it wasn't about the PC message or whatever, but everyone seems to think that they're giving up on the Xbox One. While it's still profitable right now, it's still making them money. It's not selling like the PlayStation 4 by any means, but it's still bringing a lot of money for them. So it would be fucking ludicrous for them to just say, we're not making Xbox Ones anymore, because you got rumors of the Slim coming out potentially later on this year or early next year, whatever. I think that they just need to show their roadmap a little bit better. That's my only issue. I want to know is listen, your Xbox console, whether it's Xbox One, Xbox Two, Xbox fucking Infinity, we're gonna be here for you.
Listen though. That's the thing, they do listen, but just because they're not doing everything that each individual wants them to do doesn't mean that they're not listening to you. They need to adopt these things to something that's going to be more universally
So you don't think
so entitled.
So you don't think that they should have when all this Quantum Break shit came out, don't you think they should have been out doing spin control?
I think
100%.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No,
I'm
not saying that I'm not saying that Phil should have got on the horn and called me and say, "Hey, South, hey, listen, this is what we're gonna do, bro. This is how it's gonna work, and I hope you're on board with this." You know what I mean? But I didn't see when the internet was up in a roar and Twitter was going fucking bananas. I didn't see, Phil went to Twitter and he kind of answered a few tweets or whatever, but I didn't see Aaron Greenberg, I didn't see Major Nelson, I didn't see any of these head guys out there saying, "Hey, calm down, guys. It's gonna be okay. Don't flip your fucking top just yet. It's gonna be all right."
He's always happy to step out there and take the bullets for the team. He's just that kind of guy.
Well, he's a sweetheart,
But the issue that I think that we have here isn't that people don't feel like they're being listened to, because the majority of the time, the things that everybody wants, apart from some really obscure stuff, always ends up happening. The issue that we have here, gamers are too entitled. They expect everything, and they expect it for nothing, and they want it yesterday. And when they don't get it, it's like, well, you're not listening to my needs. You don't care about me. You're not putting my money to the best use. You're not giving me the service you promised. You lied about this. You know what? Let's go back through the last 4 years of transcript of anything that Microsoft said ever on social media and find different places where they've backflipped on it. It's not backflipping to a degree.
Jeez,
again, a lot of times technology evolves.
Hey, wait, let me wait, time out here for a sec, guys. And
I think somebody needs some VR.
So,
shit.
I am annoyed at people complaining about shit that they shouldn't be complaining about, that they wouldn't be upset about if they just educated themselves first.
Okay, so real quick, I really, I love the conversation here, but I really want to get Eric and Lemieux involved in this. But Lemieux, let me go to you real quick. What do you think about all this stuff, Lemieux? Because you and I, Lemieux, I've known you for 14 years, man. You and I really haven't talked about this yet. What do you think about this stuff?
I'm honestly not that concerned or worried about it. I never have been. The only thing that, and I didn't even think about this myself, I just saw it on some forums or on Twitter when people were saying that, well, PC gamers don't have to pay to play online, blah, blah, blah. but Xbox Gold members, they get the games with Gold plus all the other things like party chat and being able to play online. What if they just say Xbox Live Silver, you get everything except for the games with Gold. You get to play games online. You get to chat with your friends. You think that would make people calm down?
Maybe. Yeah.
Then
if they if they distinguish it like that, probably, yeah.
But like you said, Ryse, the biggest problem with it is Microsoft is still saying that it's one ecosystem.
Yeah.
We're the same, but it's obviously not the same. So on this event coming up in a few days, they have to somehow calm down the people that are going crazy. They have to, because E3 a few years ago, they fucked up big time. And they changed. Phil Spencer came on board. It's all about the games. Well, people are passionate, as we all know, obviously just from listening to this podcast. People are passionate, and they need to calm people down. Me personally, I'm not worried about it, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
They're already in second place after being mostly in first place last generation. And if they want to even think about catching up or even, going on to the next generation, they have to just get everything in line.
And it goes back to what I was saying about taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. They need to get their consumer confidence back.
Right.
Because right now everything's jumbled. People don't know, do they want to go PC first? Is that their priority? Do they want to cater to the PC guys? Do they want to forget about us console gamers? Because 9 times out of 10, most console people despise PC. Like me personally, for me, my stance is I will never be a PC gamer because I don't have to put up with buying the next greatest fucking graphics card. I don't have to worry about damn, this game's coming out in 6 months. Will I be able to play it at
Right.
at least medium specs? Not even minimum. Like I want at least to have decent. Like do I have to put another fucking $700 out of my ass to do this? No, I like having a quote unquote closed system that it's optimized exactly for that.
Yeah.
To me, PC gaming is so fragmented. It's kind of like the Android versus iOS type. If I could compare it. You know what I mean? Like PC gaming just does not appeal to me whatsoever. So if Phil called me up tomorrow and said, "Listen, we're gonna stop making Xboxes, man. It's a business decision. It's just we think we'll make more money going PC, and that Xbox brand is just gonna be PC." I'll say, you know what, Phil? It's been fun. I appreciate everything, but I'm gone. Salute. And I'd hang him up.
Yeah,
that's a mature way to look at it, but sadly most people don't go that route, and that's why I said the way people react to this thing, you almost have to say, what else is missing, like in your life? And then that's not like a personal attack on anyone, but seriously, I kind of go, why am I not reacting this way to it? And it's because at the end of the day, I know it's a business. And it's not affecting me to the point. I'm very much a person that sit back. I say, let me wait and see what happens before I really react to this. And it's sort of like what South is saying. At the end of the day, if they end up saying, yeah, guys, you know what? We're looking at this thing. This is kind of where we want to go. We're not really doing it in the console space the way we want to, and we're out. Then I have a decision to make. Do I want to go get a rig and stay and keep rocking with, if it's going to be called Xbox at that point? Or do I want to say, that's not for me, I'm out? But at the end of the day, it's not the end of my life either. Right. So no, when they announced that and everyone's saying, well, I want my money back, or they're saying they lied to us, they didn't lie to me. They're a business. I don't take it personal. I know business has to keep moving, and I also know that we're old guard, and they have to keep moving forward as a business. They want us to come along, but there comes a point where you have to gut check and say, maybe I'm aging out. Maybe what they're trying to go after now, maybe this audience that they're trying to grab isn't a part necessarily of me, and that sucks because we've been rocking with them for so long. But everything moves forward.
Yeah.
Change happens.
Exactly.
It seems like every couple generations, things change.
Right.
And it just a lot of people don't like change.
No, they
You know, they're
don't.
not used
What's
to
acceptance
change.
lag? Yeah, and that's actually with gaming. That's any platform that's driven by technology. There's always some level of acceptance lag. And Eric, we've had a lot of conversations about this where the gaming industry is going, and this could be look this could be them saying, hey, we have an idea of where this is going. And what we're doing is we're putting the plans in motion for where gaming is going. And I've always thought game consoles how we know them to be today are not going to be the same game consoles that we know 5 to 10 years. How my son
Naturally.
games and his expectation of gaming is not going to be the same as how I grew up gaming. They I look at like my niece and nephew, and my nephew's he's 10 years old. He's got an Xbox, and his friends all have Xboxes and PlayStations. And while they do game on their consoles, they do a lot of mobile gaming.
Hmm.
And I can see that, like, just looking at him, the expectation for them is just gaming on the fly, being able to game anywhere, not really having to sit down and to play a game. That's just not how they're being raised or how they're learning to play games. That's very much different than how we game, guys. I mean, I grew up in the Atari generation, being 4 years old and picking up a controller and putting the cartridge in.
Damn, Ricky, hey, you just dated yourself, bro. You're fucking old.
I did. I'm old as shit,
When
man.
consoles had wood paneling, man, I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
hey,
And
the wood pedaling was sexy back in the days.
That shit
The
was
thing is, we
fly.
also need to understand that the most amount of income that comes in every year in the gaming industry is on mobile devices. So it makes sense that there needs to be a way to integrate that into what Microsoft
Wait,
is
hold on,
doing.
Bella, real quick. Can you say podcast?
So I missed that.
It's an inside joke.
Yeah, there's a thing about me and my accent and the word that is pod and cost put together, apparently.
Podcast. I love it.
And I want to go back to something like South said. What really is going on, and a part of this too is, he's absolutely right. They have to come out and say something and get the messaging right, because they keep leaving things to everyone to figure out. And I was saying, even earlier today, when they had the announcement that the new Xbox update is coming, they announced it first. It's coming to PC first, and then to Xbox. In the situation they have right now, where do you think people are going to run with that?
Oh,
holy
absolutely.
shit,
And that
it's
is a
going to
really
PC
important point
first.
that you just brought up. Because they need to, at the moment, there needs to be a focus on Xbox and PC being an afterthought.
Right.
And I know that their messaging that they're putting out, they want people who are going to embrace PC as Xbox gaming to feel like they are really important. So I see why the messaging is coming across that way. But at the end of the day, the main issue here is that what people don't stop to think about is a decision that is made in August of 2015 may not be the same thing that is delivered in February of 2016, because shit changes. Technology evolves. Partnerships that were in play that you didn't know were going to come in to being a factor in your decision-making processes get cemented in. Shit changes. Now, that doesn't give them anybody, not just Microsoft, it doesn't give anybody a free pass to say, well, because this happened and that changed and, we're now allowed to talk about this where we weren't allowed to talk about that back then. That doesn't give them a free pass to come across as actually legitimately lying to people about a particular service that they're going to be providing. But people do also need to take into consideration that what was 7 months ago isn't necessarily the same today, because stuff changes. And that's where it all comes down to, and we've all said this multiple times, it all comes down to your messaging and your transparency. If you're not going to make sure that you're transparent about something, then you should take in your stride the fact that you are going to cop a shitstorm for coming across like you lied.
Yeah. Well, and again, this goes back to I think that the February 25th we're going to get an idea, a better idea, I hope, in terms of the messaging here and what's going to happen. Now, I don't believe they're banning Xbox. I'm not one of those guys that thinks that's happening. I think this is just an evolution of where the gaming industry is maybe going anyway. And I think there's I do think there's a lot of, from a game development standpoint, there's a lot of pluses to this. When we talk about DX12, and we talk about tying in an ecosystem and being able to offer developers a platform to develop across multiple devices. That, from what I understand, is pretty easy, right? It's supposed to be seamless.
Supposedly.
Yeah, and so that to me is a win-win for them. I mean, if that's a selling point, I think, and I think that if you're looking at the Xbox and it is very much now a Windows 10 device, it's still a game console, but it's part of the Windows 10 ecosystem. They could potentially offer more games to the console now. I think that could be a byproduct of all this, and I hope people don't lose sight of that.
And let's point this out too. Let's take Quantum Break for example. And I know everyone's saying, well, they lied to us about Quantum Break. The week prior, they said it wasn't going to PC, and a lot of this started off with the reports, from that Brazilian website thing that there was a listing for it, and then it was debunked, and then it came back, right? And then the following couple of weeks, oh hey, day and date it is going to go to PC. But think about it in terms of this. From what we understand, again, when we play the numbers game, how many Xbox Ones are out there?
At least 5.
Did you say 5? Jesus Christ.
There's a shit ton of Xboxes out there.
You know what's going to happen?
It's an important gaming console. The majority of people who care about gaming for the experience itself actually own more than one platform.
Exactly. But what I was going to say is, from what the reports that we get and the numbers between the PS4 and the Xbox One, is that Xbox is sitting around 20 million, maybe a little more, right?
Yeah.
So what's the overall development cost on Quantum Break? From what I understand, Quantum Break costs a pretty big fucking penny.
75 million, I think.
Right.
Well, I'd say closer to 100.
100?
So that's about the average AAA cost.
Right. So when you sit at the table, is the Xbox One alone going to make that back?
No, it's not. Well, that's why I bring up the point
we've actually talked about this, at length, and you're saying you got to sell about 5 million copies just to kind of break even.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what titles are selling that many copies?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, South. That's a great point, because 5 million to break even on an exclusive is that's a lot to. If you're a developer, you're hedging a pretty big bet to break even. That's
right.
Yeah, and that's
So who's to say the last minute say, listen, we got some pre-order numbers in, and you know what, we're a little bit worried. We want to make a few bucks on this, so why don't we add PC into it? And I mean there's a number of reasons why they would do it. And I have no problem with that. Yeah. I just don't want to be considered a second-class citizen because I'm a console gamer. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, we're all gamers. We all want options.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like, if I were a PC gamer, to say, hey, you know what? I could switch. I could leave. I can leave my Xbox console, leave the house, and with my laptop, and while I'm waiting at the DMV, I could pop open my laptop and finish where I left off. I mean, that's pretty cool in theory. If that was my cup of tea, that would give me another option.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm gonna go to the chat room real quick. Daniel has been commenting. He was saying that they don't. Microsoft really doesn't have to apologize for releasing the game on the PC when it's ready, rather than artificially delaying it. He's saying that NDAs are there. And that's, there could be an NDA thing too, that they knew about it. Maybe they just couldn't talk about it too.
Well, from what I was told is when, the whole only on Xbox exclusive, at the time when all that was said, like the plan wasn't in place for PC. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So what if it was just a leadership meeting, right. 3 weeks ago, a month ago? Say, you know what, we need to add PC to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't know. We're not privy to those type of meetings and information, and we shouldn't have to be.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the business side of this industry. So
exactly. And then I know people are saying like, well, they should have told us. Well, we did. Sorry, we didn't. Like you said, South. There could have been something that was decided like on the fly, not on the fly, but immediately, right? Yeah. Now, beyond Quantum Break, I understand where people are feeling a little bit concerned. Like you said, you don't want to feel like a second-class citizen. So now let's talk about the other games, that are supposed to be coming as Xbox exclusives. And what does that mean for them going? So I understand people kind of want to know, okay, beyond Quantum Break happened. We know what's going on with that.
Right.
Going forward, what are we talking about?
And that's a good point. I think if they do the same thing they're doing when it comes to like Gears 4, I think it's a bad decision. They at least for day and date, they should, even if it's like 2 months or 3 months, I think that would be preferable. Kind of like how the Tomb Raider thing is,
Right.
Let it be on Xbox for a few months, exclusively, and then bring it for PC.
Right.
I think people would be more understanding and cool with it if that were the case.
Yeah,
There's
that's really how they need to go forward from here.
Right.
Yeah. Hey guys,
There's a little bit of writing on the wall with Tomb Raider too, because people thought that was going to be like many more months out, because typically
no, you know what? I mean, anybody with a brain knew that they were pulling some weird shit when they announced it before the game even came out. I mean, honestly, they kind of tanked the launch of Rise of Tomb Raider. They really did. When they announced it, and Xbox wasn't ready to talk about, hey, it's just limited exclusive, first years, first to come out on Xbox, and then PlayStation or whatever. But I think Crystal and then they really messed that up. They really sabotaged the launch for Tomb Raider, and that's my personal opinion.
Well,
I think they put Xbox in a bad light.
People need to cut Phil. People need to cut Phil some slack on that one too, because Phil he stood there and said, "I don't have an Uncharted," and Uncharted was supposed to come at the end of this 2015. So he was having that in place to battle Uncharted, and then Uncharted slipped into 2016. So he's still sitting there like, well, I still have Tomb Raider that's still going to come. Now think if Uncharted did launch at the end of 2015, what kind of marketing and how they could have positioned that and what it was going to go up against to go head-to-head with that title. That didn't happen. So he had a lot of variables going against him. And then, like you said, too, Crystal kind of letting the cat out of the bag about, how that...
Well, actually, honestly, and it really wasn't even Crystal Dynamics. They weren't the ones that came out. Well, I mean, what is it? Square Enix?
Yeah. Square Enix, yeah.
And that's the funny thing is, I want to see in the next year or two how their relationship is with Xbox. Because of the way they alienated that agreement they had. I want to see if there's going to be any kind of marketing deals in the future going forward with Xbox, because it seemed like they really, I mean, really, if we were speaking frank, they really fucked Xbox with that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, real quick, back to the chat room. As you guys were talking about Quantum Break going from Xbox One to PC, Daniel brought up a great point. The fact that they could port it over so fast is a good sign.
Well, that's because that's where it was made. It was made on the PC.
Yeah, well, it's also, for what I understand, the first DX12 game. Is that?
Yes, top to bottom.
Yeah, so I mean, and DX12 is supposed to be this seamless, tool for developers.
Supposedly they said that Forza 6 was ported over in 20 minutes, if you believe the rumors.
Wow, yeah, well, that's true. That's pretty ridiculous. So, and if they could do that, that's a win for the console. What were you saying, Bella?
A lot of devs say that they can port over in less than a day. So for a team that size with the resources they have available, 20 minutes isn't that far of a reach.
Yeah, wow. That's the rumor, that it was 20 minutes it took to port it over.
That's pretty impressive.
And it goes to show you. So if that whole thing with Quantum Break, it could have been made a moment's notice and say, all right, we're going to bring it. And if they can port it over in 20 minutes or a day, you don't need that much planning to figure that out. And when you think about it like that, well, why wouldn't they say, well, shit, it takes 1 day to add it to PC? Fuck, well, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
And they lose what, 1% of pre-orders on the Xbox, but they gain 25% of pre-orders on the PC. Seems like a smart marketing move to me.
Well, it's also I think, like I said earlier, I think it's a sales tool when you're pitching developing games on the Xbox. Now,
Right.
now you're opening it up to this other platform, and you're opening up in a way that's easy. And it could potentially save. I mean, I don't know development costs, but I'm just thinking, that with the ability to seamlessly port games that way, it's got to be cost effective for developers, and I think that's a win-win. And
So
it's a big.
you think it's a marketing ploy to say, listen, you could have it on the Xbox and PC running all within the same fucking day.
Well, I think for a developer, yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about budgets and how costly big AAA titles are and just game development, I think.
Because when you talk to I mean, even a lot of Sony boys were bringing up interviews with the guys that are making Division, and they're saying, oh, it's so much easier to work with the PlayStation, this and that. But here we know now that the Xbox has the marketing deal with it. So, like, when it comes to something like that, like, everybody assumes that it's easier to make games for the PlayStation, obviously because they have the lead and, the market share. But when you consider, hey, you can make it for Windows 10 and Xbox all at one shot,
Well,
does that make you as a developer more interested in the Xbox ecosystem?
I think so. If it's if you're using DX12 and it's easy to kind of plug and play without having to spend more money, and now you're offering two platforms to
Basically, two for
develop.
one.
Yeah, I think it's like a 2-for-1 deal. I think it's a selling point for Microsoft when they're talking to developers to make games for their platforms.
See, and these are all nice questions that we could ask, somebody in the know.
Yeah,
If they
yeah.
were able to speak on it, it would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be
Right.
nice. Yeah, I mean, I look. The PlayStation 4. The big thing on the PlayStation 4. Yeah, it has been easy to develop for, for the most part. I mean, it has. But what I was referring to was more DX12 per se. And now that we have DX12, and now it's a thing now.
To me, like the whole DX12 thing, I still like it. It still kind of makes me cringe because I think all that secret sauce shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
it
secret
brings another
sauce.
5 cores.
Wait,
and,
South, you don't believe the secret sauce, man? Come on.
only when I'm at McDonald's, brother.
That 12, it's like having 4 Titans.
Right?
Yeah, 4 Titans. Yeah, right. That's hilarious. So, yeah, you know what, guys? I obviously time's going to tell with this thing, and it's either going to work or it's not going to work. But, for me, I don't know. I'm not as doom and gloom. I think that this is maybe the next logical step. So,
And there is no progress without trial and error.
yeah, exactly.
And
There's
let's wait for
But
Ken
see,
to accept that something's
okay,
gonna hit the
you
mark
bring
on
up a
us,
good
right?
point. You bring up a good point. Trial and error, but it seems like right now Xbox is doing more error than trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting, South and I heard it. By the way, the TXR podcast that you guys did when you guys interview Ryan
Thanks
McCaffrey.
for the plug, brother.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm enjoying what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, man,
the
good stuff.
the interview there with Ryan McCaffrey was great, and he talked about you kind of have one chance to kind of make a first impression, and they didn't make that first impression.
Right.
And I think that's a big reason, I think, why they're kind of in the position they're in.
Yeah. Well, everybody has an opinion on their launch window and how they fuck it up, and I mean, everybody talks about it at length. Still to this day, here we are 3 years later, and people are still saying,
exactly.
"Well, they shouldn't have had to connect, or would they, the price point was too much, or they shouldn't have had DRM, and blah blah blah." I mean, everybody has an opinion and a different view of it. And really everybody's right. Because
That's
that
right, because
really
everybody's
made you
right.
second guess as a consumer.
Yeah. What's that, Bell?
Oh, sorry, I stopped because I didn't want to talk over the top of South, but I was just saying everybody is right when it comes to their opinion because their opinion suits their own needs.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and there were a lot of variables there, but again, it's like you said, you take the 2 steps forward and a step back, and it seems like every bit of goodwill that they get, something stumbles and it kind of like throws them back a bit.
But I think what South said earlier, they're pretty good at. I don't know if it was South or you, Bella. They're pretty good at, listening to the community feedback and making improvements. If you look at what the Xbox One has done since launch, I mean, for me, it's a completely different console now. I mean,
No,
it's impressive what the changes they've been able to implement, since launch.
right. No, they're fantastic at community engagement, but I think that also comes back to bite them in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so good with being so open and talking to and responding to and answering, that when something like this happens, that's when you get an explosion where someone feels that they can kind of talk to them however they want and scream at them and like go off. But even in that, you saw Phil engage and try to calm down, and then he's getting his head bitten off.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they can't win. It's like a catch-22 for them.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, there's some truth to
What
that.
happens when you deal with kids?
Well, that's what I'm
Bella
saying. Like,
said.
how much error can they withstand?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, well, Microsoft is a fucking $5 billion, a day, marketing and this and this. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they can afford to take all these risks. That doesn't mean that Xbox has unlimited resources to do whatever
No,
they
they
want.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Exactly.
They don't have any resources.
Obviously,
Yeah.
the purse strings are really, really tight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what people have to realize too. They're like, well, they got all this dope. Microsoft as a company has a ton of dope. Xbox as a division has a budget.
Right.
There's only so much.
I mean, they're at the table with the big dogs and everything right now, but it doesn't mean that they have a blank check to just do whatever they want.
Exactly.
No, they don't.
No.
They definitely don't.
And two, as consumers, we do have a right to complain and do have a right to be upset. But again, they're so good at responding and giving you features that, it bites them in the ass. Like, look at backwards compatibility. They announced that. It was like a mic drop moment at E3. People were super hyped. And then what does it get them?
That was amazing.
The minute someone doesn't get a title that they want, they're pieces of shit. What the fuck? Where's Red Dead? What the hell? What the fuck?
Yeah, nothing on backwards compatibility matters at the moment unless it's Red Dead. What the hell is with that?
But then it's like they gave you a feature that they didn't even promise you when this thing launched.
Yeah, that's a
They
great point.
figured it out for
They
you.
figured it out,
Cut them some fucking slack.
Yeah.
That's twice you said fuck, and I think that's 3 times all up. Now that I've known you, I've heard you say that word.
Okay, you know what? I got to chime in, Bella.
Fucking amazing.
Yes, Bella. I've never heard Eric. Well, I've heard him say shit in this podcast.
But not the
he's
F-bomb.
dropping f-bombs, and I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's because
me.
well, no, I don't think it's just you, Seth. I think it's Bella and
Bring out the
you.
worst.
No, you
Bring
don't.
out the worst of people.
We're bringing that real gaming passion out in him. He's embracing his inner child.
Yeah.
Well, lest you guys think I'm a choir boy, you should hear me on a day-to-day.
You know what, Eric?
He said shit. You don't even know.
Yeah. Hey, Lemieux, you got anything to chime in, man? I know you've been kind of
He's
quiet.
overshadowed. Sorry, man.
No, it's all good.
Want to
The
pull
only
you,
We're a
kind
bunch
of
of
pull you in.
blabbermouths and shit.
Yeah, I kind of want to
only
pull you into
thing-
this, man. Get your
the only
opinion
thing
on shit.
The only thing that I think people should be upset about is if you buy the Xbox One version, you get the PC version for free. In my opinion, that's kind of fucked up.
Well,
Like,
I don't
why-
understand. I don't understand that.
I don't
that doesn't
understand.
make any sense.
You know why they did that?
No. Go ahead.
That was a marketing ploy to make you feel like you're getting something for free. And to make you say, oh, you know what? Well, I guess it really doesn't matter because I get it for free if I choose to play it on Windows 10. It was just to keep people quiet, and they thought that because they were giving it for free, that people weren't going to rise up and be pissed off.
But wouldn't it keep people more quiet if they also did it the other way around?
Oh boy, that would have been a firestorm. Like you think it was bad now?
I just.
Oh
it just
my
seems,
god!
it
Buy
just
it on
seems to be-
PC and you get an Xbox One version free.
The point
Oh
that he's bringing up
shit!
here, though, is double standards.
Well, there's always been double standards because
Yeah.
we're talking about console fanboys.
But you can't say that we're equal whilst imposing double standards on us.
Well, you're talking about
That was my point
okay.
about the Xbox Live thing.
What is the average PC game cost?
I have
Yeah.
no
Depending
idea.
on what you call an average PC game.
$30-$40 maybe.
Okay. Well, you're not going to get a $60 game for $30 for one.
I know you can pick up XCOM on CD keys, which has only just come out for like $26.
Well, see, exactly. Everyone always points to CD keys. And, because like they're talking about, oh, well, Rise of the Tomb Raider, sold 300, 400,000 copies or whatever. But yeah, but I guess it was on CD keys for like $10. So, when you use like, well, there's a lot of extra revenue coming from PC, but it's like, well, hold on a second, because you can get the games much, much cheaper. So you can't really rely on a number like, 500,000 when, you got it for $5. That's really not, you can't, you really can't use that.
I'd be interested to see the numbers to see how many pirated copies of Quantum Break are going to be out there in the wild.
Oh, we would all be interested in seeing those numbers.
Yeah. It's going to be outrageous.
You know what? That would be a big mudslinging point right there.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, you know what's interesting?
It's like you alienated all your fan base, and look, you got fucking ass raped.
Exactly.
Oh shit! Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's what. I'm not saying that's how I would play it. You know what I mean? But that's the fervor that's going on right now. That's exactly how it would be.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, South, you know what's interesting is that earlier you mentioned 5 million as a figure for these big AAA titles to break even. That's crazy shit, because remember when $1 million was a big deal?
Remember $1 million was like Game of the Year. That got you Game of the Year edition.
$1 million was
that was a platinum edition, and you were able to get it for $20 after that. Remember?
Yeah. Damn.
Now it's going to take like 5 million for these big AAA games. It's going to take like 5 million to just break even.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I just want to say fuck, because I haven't said that yet. I don't think in this podcast. I feel left out. Lemieux, you should probably. Yeah, Lemieux, you should probably just chime in and say fuck too. So.
Say fucking podcast. That's what I want to hear.
You could say shit, cock balls.
One thing I do want to say, I've always had this question, and this might be a whole another podcast, because this question could be talked about for hours. Why are PC games always cheaper than console games? What is their main reason? A valid reason.
Well, for most of them, they're all digital. That's why.
Yeah, I think digital, and I think Bella, you do you have something to say on this?
I'm going to let everyone else go first, or otherwise we're going to have another rant on our hands.
No, I'd like to hear the rant. That's why I went to you, Bella, because I heard you kind of chuckle a little bit. I'm like, ooh, rant time. I want to hear it.
If it's because they're digital, then I want $20 off every digital purchase on my Xbox or PSN store. It's ridiculous.
Good luck.
Well, I know.
How about you take that up with the developers who spend every night in their basements after working all day long developing the game to release it? It only ends up being released digitally. That half the time isn't their decision to do so. That is their lifetime's work. How about you go to the film you want $20 off?
Yeah, Bella, you got to breathe there.
Maybe they're so much cheaper because they know people are going to steal them anyways by being pirated.
You think that?
See, that's the thing. I don't think that the piracy is that big of a deal like it used to be, 5-10 years ago. People make a big deal like,
I know that
PC gamers are pirates and this and that. You know what? I don't think it's that prevalent as people like to make it out to be. That's just more ammo for the console, PC master race wars,
Yeah, what were you saying, Lemieux?
Jonathan Blow's new game, The Witness, which was on PC and PS4, the pirated numbers have been outrageous on that one already.
Yeah, but he also noticed that he announced that it brought in $4 million first week.
True, but still, it doesn't make pirating right.
No, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is I think that they're making the pirated numbers a little bit more than they really are.
Possibly.
Yeah, they're making it seem like it's an epidemic when basically it's just a cold.
Right. Exactly. Because like a lot of the Xbox fanboys wanted to make it seem like, oh, well, see, he got pirated. He should have been on Xbox One. He would have had more revenue stream come, if he was on Xbox. He wouldn't have lost all that money for, the pirates.
Yeah, and I think, too, when it comes to pricing, I don't think anybody wants to make that move because, again, development costs are not going down.
No.
And then
they're going up.
Right, and then you start introducing discounted games, and people start bitching about that.
I mean, look at how many games you have available to you on PC. You could spend a week trying to look at every single game through a preview and still not get through probably 10% of whatever's available on PC. It is absolutely saturated with games. So, of course, they're going to have to lower their prices because the only way that they're going to draw you in to go, well, you should buy this game out of that genre that currently has like 1,500 other games in the same genre available because ours is cheaper. It's going to cost you less to try us out.
Mm-hmm.
So here, take my game for $5, even though I know it's worth $30, and I spent 6 years of my life in my basement away from my family eating reheated microwavable meals to bring this game to you if you tell me how shit it is.
That sounds
You know
like
the funny thing is, you act like you're the one making shit in your basement, eating microwave dinners.
Well, maybe I am.
And I think what Bryan is saying too, though, is like you can see some AAA games on PC that are like usually half off, like often.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Usually on launch day, it's at least $20 to $30 cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, doesn't some of the pricing for console games and the digital stuff? Because I've seen this topic come up or this conversation come up a little bit or quite a bit with people have said, well, why is it that you can go buy a physical copy of a console game for, I think Rainbow Six is probably the most recent example for $40, but then the digital copy is like $60.
If they were to say, okay, well, since it's digital and you don't have the manufacturing costs and all that, if they were to bring the prices down, it would piss off Best Buy, GameStop, all the brick and mortar stores, shops would be pissed. You think Xbox would love to just be, digital, or PlayStation be just digital?
Oh,
yeah.
And drop the price down like $10 or something? You think they wouldn't love that?
Well, they say the other reason too is they want to clear it with the physical stuff at some of these brick and mortars. They want to clear inventory too, which is why they drop the price. Because they have these games sitting on the shelves. But what you said earlier, just a second ago, Southbound, is true. I from what I understand, GameStop will actually.
I do the same thing all the time too.
Yeah, I do. I do it too. GameStop will apparently pull your game if you sell it cheaper as a developer. If you sell a digital version cheaper than what they're selling a retail version.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Oh, yeah, they'll throw that weight on you.
Yeah. You know what? I can't stand GameStop. Those fuckers. I don't like them. I think they're bad for the industry. And now they're getting.
It seems like anytime I go to a GameStop, I just feel like they try to push pre-orders on you. And are you sure? You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what system you want? PlayStation? Well, if you were gonna just automatically insinuate that I wanted a PlayStation, why you gonna ask me what did I want it on for?
South, you want it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, under this Xbox hat is a PlayStation do-rag.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're going to take your 15 games down to GameStop that collectively cost you like over $1,000. They're like, I'll give you $2.95 for that.
It's like, I'm going to go trade in my PS4 and I'm going to buy one game.
It drives crazy.
And it will be for the Wii.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It makes me nuts to see a kid in there with his mom, and he's like, systems,
that breaks my
heart.
heart.
Look at her and
yeah.
be like, lady, oh my God, man.
They should change the name of GameStop to just bend over and take it in the rear. That should be the name of the store.
They're like, so that's a 360, a PS3, and 65 games. Here's your $5.
Here's $10. Yep, here's $10.25.
What would you like to put that towards? What pre-order would you like to put that on?
We could offer you a free membership, which will entitle you to 0.3% off your purchases once you've purchased over $1,000 for the year.
They're like, here, we can give you $50 in cash, but we'll give you $80 in store credit.
Right.
They're like, oh, shit, all right, well, I guess I'll have to put the money back into your pocket then, huh?
Yeah,
exactly.
Of which there will be multiple stipulations on. Actually, AAAs are exempt from that. And, sorry, you can't actually get exclusives.
And you guys realize
in conclusion,
they have to
follow, is the devil.
Yeah, they have to follow pawn shop law now. You know that, right?
Yeah, they do.
So many people who bring in stolen games.
Yeah, they do.
And stuff that's why you have to give your fingerprint and sign and do all this other weird shit.
I've never had a fingerprint at GameStop. Is that like a Florida thing, or is that?
Maybe it's a Florida thing.
That might be a Florida thing, man.
It must be a Florida thing, then.
Damn, I gotta quit trading in stolen shit then, huh?
Yeah, what's going on in your
Thanks
state?
for the heads up. Good looking out, bro.
Yeah.
Fella, I don't know how much you
South,
follow
that's
the
what we
news.
do in this podcast. We look out for each
Yeah,
other.
you're looking out. Shit.
I don't know how much you follow the news, Bella, but all the crazy shit happens in Florida.
Yeah. You guys need to stop going over for that New York pizza. You won't trip out so much.
The what? The New York pizza? I missed that. What?
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either.
New York pizza's the devil, apparently.
New York pizza's the devil?
Mm-hmm.
New York pizza's a shit. I love it.
New York pizza's the bomb, yo.
I've never
Yeah.
had New York pizza.
Oh, South, dude. South.
You need to head down and get that Chicago pizza.
South. If you go East Coast,
Chicago
man,
pizza's
you go to
good
New
too.
York. Chicago pizza's good too.
I don't like
Yeah.
Chicago. It's too thick.
That's what she said. Ooh, shit! I shouldn't have said that.
Oh my god.
Well, you would think that she would like it thick, but you know.
That's so fucking.
That's a spicy meatball.
Not a movie that he watched, not something that he actually experienced in real life.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Okay,
geez.
so I guess maybe that's just.
So are we gonna do podcast after dark or what? Like,
Yeah,
is
this is
it
a
about that
podcast.
time?
This is the podcast after dark now. It's 11:28. Well, we're missing Worry though. We need Worry to chime in.
We need Vlad to come through and bust the intro.
Lone
Yes,
Wolf
I
6,
want to suck your tits.
Lone Wolf 6 says
What?
in the chat, power up rewards expires in 11 months. Would you like to renew?
Oh yeah, they always say that shit to me all the time. Yeah, Lone
They're
Wolf. They
like,
always
you
say
got
that shit
4
to me.
more months on your membership. You want to renew now? Fuck no. Why would I renew now, you dick?
Right.
Yeah, you know who has got the? Speaking of like deals, like for gamers, Best Buy actually has that
Yeah.
gamers reward program that's actually really good. Actually, it got me back to buying physical copies. I get 20% off of physical copies, new purchases.
You can get that with Amazon.
And you get a $10.
Yeah,
you get a
Amazon got that good pre-order thing.
They-
where you get
they do.
Plus, you get
20% off.
2 3-day shipping.
You do, but Best Buy's giving you $10 in Best Buy cash that you use towards another game. So you get 20% off plus $10 off a game.
Yeah, which you already paid in the postage that you wouldn't have had to pay if you bought it through Amazon Prime because you get 2-day free shipping.
You know,
Ooh,
Bella.
we got a Best Buy Amazon
I know.
fight
you know,
right now.
I know.
I love Amazon.
Bella.
though. I got an addiction to Amazon.
Bella,
Me
you
too.
need to run. You need to run for office, Bella. Seriously.
And South, that Prime is dangerous, man.
Prime is
I'm
dangerous.
telling you, brother. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Prime.
Hey, every day I try to walk through my door and I got like 4 boxes sitting outside my front door and I'm like, son of a bitch, I got a problem.
You do got a problem, man. If you're getting that shit every day, that's actually I shouldn't
it's
say.
real.
Hey, honestly, a couple times a week at least.
Yeah. Hey, Eric. Eric, you know we talked about doing the happy hour podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that right now.
I see the red cup, man.
Yeah, I didn't.
Red Solo Cup.
I'm glad to see you keeping it classy with that fine crockery.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what, Bella? I'd rather do this than dirty dishes.
Hey,
right?
you know what? Hashtag Murica, who eats 1.3 billion chicken wings during the Super Bowl. You do what you please.
What's wrong
Hey,
with that?
what's wrong with chicken wings? Ain't
I
nothing
love
wrong with
That
that.
wings.
is 2.6 billion chickens slaughtered for 1.5 hours worth of consumption on one day in one country. No one has an issue
what
with
game?
this.
What game you talking? 1 point.
She's talking about the Super Bowl, man.
Super Bowl's like 4 hours.
She's talking about-
Super Bowl, there is 1.3 billion, not million, not thousand, 1.3 billion chicken wings
Oh shit!
consumed
Well, they're
during
not.
Super
It's
Bowl.
not fucking kangaroo legs.
Wait, hold on, wait. Time out for a sec. They're actually not. It's not actually 1 billion chickens, individual chickens, because they take parts of the chicken.
No, that's right. If we're talking about chicken wings, then we're talking about 2 per chicken. It doesn't matter. It's still a lot of fucking chickens. You
They're all
massacre-
genetically grown in a lab, so it's all good.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what-
makes it okay.
That's why KFC isn't Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. It's KFC.
According to urban legend, yeah, it's all in the lab
Kentucky Fried Steroids, yeah.
By the way, how do we go from talking about so
Gee, it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, we
happy
went-
hour.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Lone Wolf said I downed 0 chicken wings. Okay.
Right, you're good in my books, Lemieux.
Yeah, but how do we go from like the history of the original Xbox, talking about the future Xbox, to talking about, chicken wings and what else were we
Well,
talking about?
You know what's
Amazon
funny?
Prime.
Talk about chickens. Remember earlier I asked you what your clan tag was or your clan name was?
Yeah.
Can you guess what mine was?
What's that?
Our clan.
Chicken butt.
Actually, you'll probably laugh. Pollo chokers.
Pollo chokers. I love that. Pollo chokers.
Yeah.
I like that. Pollo chokers.
That's good.
That was our clan for like 10 years.
I hear that, man. Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, Lemieux, you guys have Quaker Steak. Well, you're not in PA anymore, right?
Not anymore, but Quaker Steak and Lube. It's one of my
What about
favorite-
lube?
Now listen here. You knew where you were going with that.
No, I heard lube, but
He set you up. He set that
I
up.
did,
tonight.
I
Yeah,
did.
He's always in the. He's always.
I really am concerned about the fact that you want to discuss lube with a bunch of grown men.
Well,
Yeah,
no, I really wasn't. Well,
Doing it.
Bella, lube in the U.S. means like oil. Like when you go to the car, you go to the Jiffy Lube and you get lubed up. Your car gets lubed up, you know.
Oh, he gets
Enrique,
it all right.
don't even try and sell your special brand of crazy bullshit here. We all know what you meant.
I don't know about that. I think Eric, did you know what I meant?
I know lube can go a lot of different ways in the States.
That is, well, yes, it can. It can go a lot of different ways in the States.
Usually it doesn't go to the car.
Oh
when
my
people are talking
God.
about it.
You're not selling your special kind of crazy here. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Well, it's 11:30
Yeah,
and
it's about time.
yeah.
Time
you
to
know,
skedaddles.
It is
Yeah,
about that time. I didn't realize
yeah.
it was so late.
yeah, and this podcast is going it's going south.
Hey, it could be
So-
worse.
You know what, South? You're right. It could be worse. We could be talking about porn and VR. We're not doing that tonight, at least. So,
Well, thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it. Nice to talk with some new people, and talking games is always one of my favorite things to do.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
man. Appreciate it, man. Lemieux, and I gotta at some point I'm gonna have to hop on NHL, but
Please do. I'm ready.
yeah, I need to do that. Oh geez, guys, I've only had 3 beers, and yeah. So, Southbound, thanks for joining, man. I know it was kind of like
Yeah,
last minute.
definitely.
You joined the chat.
I
appreciate it,
love you,
man.
man. So, I always got to come, spill my shit and, talk my shit and say hello to everybody.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, we love having you here, man. You're welcome anytime.
I appreciate that.
yeah,
I enjoy conversing with you guys.
Yeah, and
Yeah, man, same here.
yeah, keep doing what you guys are doing at TXR, man. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We got a good thing going, so we're gonna stick around. We're gonna continue to do it for a while.
Yeah.
Till they start saying, you know what, hey, you're getting old, man. You're starting to bother us. Quit. Just stop. Give it up. Give up the ghost. It's a wrap.
Yeah. Eric, thanks again, man. I mean, you have. I really enjoyed having you on, man. I appreciate the time that you've taken to do these podcasts with me, man. So thank you again.
Yeah, Eric, I've been meaning to tell you, man. I'm a fan of yours, bro. I was listening to the developers podcast the other day, and talking to Christian, and yeah, you did a good job, bro. I got to give you your props.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Means
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love what you guys do at EXL Gaming. That developers podcast is awesome.
Well, that's all Bella, man. She busts her ass over there.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Shout out to Bella.
Yeah, shout out to
Right?
Bella. And
She'll
Bella.
eat some chicken wings.
Yeah. And Bella.
Fried chicken.
Yeah. And Bella, seriously, thank you so much for coming
Chokes
on
them by
tonight.
day, fries them by night.
That's so much. When you said
More
choke,
wings, man.
when you said choke 'em by day, I was like, what are you talking about? Anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
but yeah. So Bella, thank you again for joining us tonight. I've really enjoyed having you on, and love what you guys are doing at EXL. It's just awesome. It really is. That developers podcast is great, and keep doing what you guys are doing.
And Ricky is a little buzz. He's starting to get all sentimental and shit.
Yeah, I am.
love you guys,
I'm like, I
man.
love you guys.
Yeah, it's fucking greatest, bro.
Keep the dirty hands off me.
Dirty hand.
what-
Whoa. Dirty
anybody
hands.
that-
Why would you?
Anybody that's listening, make sure you head over to Twitter, follow Eric Jaxson at ECJAXON. Eric Jaxson. Follow Aries Gamer at AREEZ Gamer, GAMEAR. And if you are not already following Southbound, you need to get on that as well.
Yeah, you fucking better be.
Yeah.
What the hell? Wasn't it easy? Something's wrong if you ain't following South Beasy.
SOUTHBOUND 110, Southbound 110. And Bryan, do you have a Twitter handle that you'd like to chuck out there?
I do. You can follow me at Lemieux66, Lemieux.
Oh shit! Spell that out.
66.
Yeah. After one of the best hockey players ever
Hockey
played the game.
players.
Yeah, who had cancer for a little
Awesome.
bit. Wish him the best, but
And I'm sure that we will all go and comment in the comment section below. Pardon me. So anybody who wants to go and check out anybody's channel here, make sure you go to the comment section, click on our icon. It'll take you directly to our YouTube channels, and you can check out everything that everyone here is doing. There's some quality content. I highly recommend you spend a few minutes checking it out.
you know Bella's trying to wrap this up, Southbound. You see what's
Right.
happening here? She's like, I need to go to bed, motherfuckers. I gotta go.
You
All
know
right.
it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon for me, right?
Oh, well, maybe you don't have to go to bed. You gotta go to happy hour. All right,
No,
guys.
I'm just teaching
No,
you how
they're
to
not
wrap this shit up.
Yeah. So, but I got it. We're all good here. All right, guys. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. And for those who watch tonight, our viewers tonight, thank you again. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe. And to the folks in the live chat, thank you again. Much love to all you guys and to my guest panel here. Thank you guys again. And we will catch you guys on Tuesday. We're on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and then we present the Green Room. We're gonna try to do it Thursdays. Might have to do it on the weekends depending on our schedules, but. Definitely game for Tuesdays for the Basement Radio Arcade podcast. So thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, more.